It's the final weekend of the Intel Extreme Masters Season 11, and we are live here from the IEM Expo with the Intel Challenge Katowice 2017! Thanks very much for everybody joining us here in the IEM Expo, and of course you watching online as well. We have an amazing contest for you in partnership with Intel and AnyKey. The 4 best female CSGO teams in Europe and North America were invited to be here, and then we had an online tournament, lots of qualifiers to find 4 more teams to come and join them. Yesterday was our group stage. We had fantastic group matches in 2 double elimination brackets, and now just 4 teams remain to compete today for our $30,000 prize pool. Our 4 games, our 4 teams then competing. Our first semi-final is all North American with last year's runners-up, CLG Red, and they will be playing against the new Team Dignitas. And then in our second semi-final, it's all European, the reigning champions of the Intel Challenge 2016, Team Secret. They will be playing off against Team Expert in our second semi-final later on today. But how did we get there? How did those 4 teams make it to today? Well, let's take the first visit of the day to our analyst desk, where we have Dan Gaskin and our analyst to talk you through yesterday's action.
Yep, thank you very much, Matt. I'm joined on the desk by Risk and Hugo, who obviously ran us through all of the action yesterday. It was a bit of a slobber knocker. It was a long day for everyone involved, but there were some fantastic matches. Yeah, definitely. We were rewarded with a lot of great games. Some of them more stomps. We got to see the best on some teams, and we ended actually off with a really good game, like crazy late, but it was worth it. It was a great game to end it off.
Yeah, some awesome matches. As you said, a lot of stomps. I think only 1 match went above the 16-8 scoreline for one of the teams, so a very one-sided affair by and large, but obviously, as Matt mentioned, Team Secret, the reigning champions, they stomped their way through. CLG, again, in this first semi-final, they stomped their way through. So we actually had a couple of great teams competing, and obviously Expert and Dignitas coming into this one maybe as underdogs. I think we got some serious contention here in these matches on our hands.
Okay, for those that didn't see yesterday's games, let's take a closer look at Group A then. Obviously, Team Secret were the ones to beat in this group, and they did do that. They just absolutely dominated the scene. But, I mean, Risk, talk me through what happened. Was there any surprises for you?
Yeah, so first off, we had Team Secret versus iSports, 16-1. Not really much to say about that. That was just a complete stomp. Team Dignitas versus Vex was a really interesting game because everyone thought that Team Dignitas were going to take that. Not easily, but they were going to take that. Vex actually surprised. They got that win 16-12. So that set up Vex and Team Secret in that match. And, of course, Team Secret, once again, stomped through it, 16-7, easy peasy. And then in the elimination match, iSports got eliminated. And then we had a really interesting rematch between Team Dignitas and Vex, and their Team Dignitas really stepped up to the plate and just took the game 16-4.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think you've got to talk about Team Dignitas and say, they came into this event after, a second place at the last ESWC, the last female event that we had, and they kind of came in as maybe one of the bigger teams to win, maybe the team to take the title off of Secret. They'd previously taken maps off of them in LAN, so it's very possible. But they came into this, they had a really shoddy start, losing against Vex, as you said, not something we expected, a team that had never actually won any maps on LAN, but I think that was kind of the kick in the teeth, right? Because they came back against iSports, they dominated them over on Cobble, and then they eventually came back against Vex, and they really took it to them, 16-4, so obviously they made it through in the end, which is good to see, because I feel like these, CLG, Secret, Expert, and Dignitas are the 4 teams we wanted here in the, semi-finals.
And speaking of CLG Red, obviously Group B, they dominated that group as well. Second place was up for contention. I'm not sure we really knew who was going to end up there. In the end, it was, of course, Team Expert. They came out on top, but it did seem like we didn't really know if they were going to get there after that first loss against CLG Red.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well, because obviously the semi-finals here are actually almost the same as last year. The only difference is Expert are here instead of LDLC. So that was a great match to see the decider match, the last match of the day last night, which was Expert versus LDLC. So finally, the majority of the German team actually took away the match from the Frenchies. So that's actually a really great matchup to see. Expert, great performance across the board. We had some star players, Petra and Jinjin, just going ham. And I feel like Expert as a whole is a team that we've really got to watch out for in this matchup against Secret later.
Yeah, definitely. Also because that Expert played Secret earlier on, and they actually took a map of them and took them to overtime on another one, so they are a real big contender, despite, of course, Team Secret being the big favorites for this tournament.
Well, CLG Red versus Dignitas is going to be the first game of today. So let's move across to Mr. Andrews to introduce us to our first players.
Thank you very much, guys, on the analyst desk. Then, so, The first of our semi-finals here at the Intel Challenge Katowice 2017. Let's get our teams to the stage. Please welcome CLG Red and Team Dignitas. CLG Red and Team Dignitas, the first semi-final of the Intel Challenge Katowice. Miss Harvey, here we are again. You are all very experienced at this. Of course, runners-up at this stage last year. 2-0 in the group to get to this position. And you said in an interview yesterday, as a team, you're feeling very prepared and very ready for this.
Yeah, it feels really good for once to not struggle to make it to semis, which has been really difficult in the past 2 years, let's be honest. But yeah, we're feeling really good. So let's just prove it again.
And Emily, it's not quite such a straightforward route, coming second in your group, having to play through the bracket to get there. Your opening game, you lost 16-12 against Vexed, but then you beat them 16-4 later on to be here when it mattered. So what changed between those two games? Was it just a slow start for you?
It was just jet lag. We were just warming up, and once we warmed up, it was game on.
Yeah. And it must be really exciting for you as a team as well, because you've only just recently come under the Team Dignitas banner. Obviously, players who may have seen you during the rest of the season, and people watching all of our season to this point, they will have seen you under Selfless. So, as Team Dignitas, great to be here with this huge organisation.
Yeah, it's a dream come true to represent Team Dignitas, and we always end up playing CLG Red somehow, and you know, every time that we keep playing over years and years, we keep getting better. So we're ready for this game.
Ready for this game, but as you say, we've seen this game before. We've seen this semi-final right here last year. What's going to be different this time?
Well, we have a new 5th player who adds so much more than what we have ever had before, so we're going in really confident.
Yeah, roster changes are an element to this match. Yeah. From your side of things, I think it was 2-1 in the semi-final at this stage in this game last year, which you won. Are you thinking it might be 2-1 again, or are you confident it's going to be a very fast start?
Well, obviously, we just want to make it as fast as possible. So we're gonna aim for 2-0. But I'm sure you're thinking the same way. So yeah.
We know it's going to be a great contest either way. Very excited to have this here for the Intel Challenge Katowice. A handshake between you both, please, Miss Harvey and Emily. Yes, and some more of that. We know it's going to be a great contest. So our first semi-final, and it's a best of 3, as our final will be later on today as well. Back to our desk then with Risk and Dan and Hugo. And let's see what they think is going to happen during this series.
Yep, we're all here, and nice to see some friendly banter from both the players. I like what they touched on about the team changes as well.
Yeah.
Obviously very impactful, but first off, let's look at CLG Red then. Absolutely dominated their group, a phenomenal team. Talk me through them.
Yeah, so the team we have here on your screens, of course, starting out with Potter in the names in the bottom here. Of course, the AWP player, very consistent. That is the thing to remember about her. She hits almost every shot, also the hard ones as well. Miss Harvey, of course, the brains behind the team, really likes placing the players around and telling them not exactly what to do, but kind of point them in the right direction. And then we have Dai, who's my favorite player for the fragging-wise. And we have Benita, who's also really good. And then the stand-in is Milk.
Yeah, and I think Milk is something to touch on as well. Obviously, Claudia wasn't able to attend this stand, so actually having Milk here in replacement of her is really interesting. You do sometimes see teams struggle to put stand-ins in and manage to fit them into their CT sides. And I think over on Mirage, when we saw CLG play Expert, the first game of the groups yesterday, Milk was really standing up. She had a great performance individually, you know, almost top of the scoreboard. And then going into Cobble, their second match, obviously, I was thinking maybe on the CT side, Milk may struggle, because on Cobble, it's a difficult map to incorporate a new 5th into the roster, right? But no, Milk stood her ground. She performed very well, and I think she's a great stand-in for this event. And that's why I don't think it's even that much of a handicap for CLG, despite having such a close roster change.
And on the other hand, of course, we've got Team Dignitas. We heard from the interview they think they've been improving at every LAN. Do you think they've got a good chance of actually taking down CLG Red here?
I think it's going to go 3 maps. I said that, of course, off camera here with all the guys. I think it's going to go to 3 maps. And Team Dignitas, of course, the underdog, so them taking a map here would, of course, be great for for them, and they have an actual chance of winning this. Of course, what we were talking about, or what they were talking about on stage, was of course Kath, who used to be on the CLG Red lineup, and now she's on the Team Dignitas lineup. So that's going to be a huge thing for that lineup, and making sure that everyone is going to get in the right position, and that if they're ready, of course, they added her not too long ago, but of course, as every team in CS, they've been practicing for a while, so it's not like she's just coming in for this event at all.
I mean, yeah, you say it. They recently added her in, and I feel like that may come into troubles in terms of the same issues we have with Milk joining into CLG, although she has incorporated very well. And I feel like you've got to watch out for Kath as well, because she's such a hard hitter.
Yeah.
She's consistent, she's got high fragging ability, and I feel like the way that she performed in the groups as well, despite them having that shaky start, she really did show off as well. So we've got, star players like Rain, for example, over on the roster, Emilite as well, as we just saw on the stage. So yeah, a really, really good general roster, and I think Dignitas have a great chance of taking this series away.
And we are going to get the vetoes live up on the screen now as well. Dignitas taking out Mirage as their first ban. Interesting, but probably quite expected, seeing CLG's dominance on Mirage yesterday. What do you think CLG are going to go for with their first ban?
See, I don't like this ban at all, right? They've gone with Nuke, and that is, I think, more of the anti-YOLO pick. They don't want Dignitas to just go for, a random pick to put them off guard. I feel like CLG need to get rid of Train, but there we go, Dignitas have picked it. CLG's famously worst map, right? So now Dignitas have actually got Train in their pool. There's a really good chance they can take the first map.
Yeah, and as I said, Cash is going to come out as the second pick, pretty much expected as with the Mirage insta-ban. We're going to see Inferno, of course, a new version of Inferno being banned as well. We see a lot of teams do this because not a lot of teams have too much practice on it, so they remove it in the end. And then we see Overpass banned as well, so that means we'll end up on Cobblestone.
Up on Cobble. Cobble is
I'm not a
gonna be
native speaker, it's okay. But yeah, we'll end up on Cobblestone, which is the map we saw a lot yesterday.
See, I'm now quite scared. I was going into this series going, CLG, I think they could be a real contender to just take this in a 2-0. But now seeing the way that the pool went, obviously these two teams played previously at the semis last year, and the map pool was heavily favourable here to CLG. They had Mirage and Cash, their two best maps at the time, and still are. And Inferno, which was the only map that Karma, now Dignitas, were able to take off. So looking at this, I look at Train, I look at that's CLG's worst map. It's a map that Dignitas are, fairly decent on as well, so that's a chance for them to take it. Cash, I feel like that's got to be a whitewash, right? Surely CLG will take that. And then Cobblestone, that's anyone's game, but I mean, we saw how Dignitas played on that yesterday.
Yeah, they're not bad at all, and as I expected, we're probably going to see the third map, and that's of course awesome for a semi-final, because you always want to see it go to 3 maps. We want to see that.
So Train to kick things off, and quite rightly, Hugo, you were saying, it's been a veto for CLG. I think it was their first veto both times yesterday in their group stage games.
Yes.
Do we see Dignitas taking this one? This is a massive confidence builder for them if they're able to take the first map.
See, obviously, looking at statistical value on maps is kind of hard, because a lot of the games that these female teams play are up against really high-tier opponents. So it's kind of hard to get statistics. But even so, CLG currently have not won a map on Train last year. Okay, in the whole of 2016, they did not win an official game on Train. So going into this one, looking at Dignitas with a 3-2 record, I honestly feel like they could win. They've beaten CLG on land before at ESWC on this exact map. This is the perfect map for Dignitas to get into this series.
Yeah, but also one thing you have to remember with female tournaments being so, there's so much time between them. Yeah. They actually have the time to prepare something that no one could know, because they haven't played Train so far in this tournament. We haven't seen Train, their opponents haven't seen Train. Maybe they have something up their sleeve, but of course, usually, as any logical man would do, would go with your prediction as well, because logically that is the correct choice.
And Team Huddle's now coming out through from CLG Red. I saw Dignitas were huddling up as well, trying to get some confidence, trying to get together, get that synergy. But really, I mean, who are the key players that we're going to be looking for? Let's talk about Train as a map in general then. What are we expecting to see?
Well, of course, Train, as pretty much in every version of Counter-Strike, it is an AWP, a sniper rifle heavy map. So I'm looking, of course, we're looking at CLG Red right now on your monitors. So I'm looking at Potter. She has to come up here with that AWP.
Yeah, very, very important. I mean, she was starring performance yesterday. She didn't really miss any shots. We saw some teams very inconsistent with their AWPers. Potter definitely not one of them. She seems to have done her practice. She seems experienced. And despite this being a bad map for CLG, just off the hook, I still feel like the way that Potter plays is, it could be very, very dominant in terms of her performance. And I think we really need to watch out for her, despite my opinions of Dignitas being favoured in the first.
Yeah, definitely. But also on the other side of Team Dignitas, they don't have an AWPer that is as favoured as Potter. They have Emily, who's decent with it, but she's not in the same league, in my opinion.
I don't think we even saw them pick up the AWP more than 1 or 2 rounds the whole group stage, despite them going through 3 maps, ups and downs. They never went with the AWP. They're a team that focuses a lot more on the SMGs, which is
I thought Emily just picks up the P90.
Yeah, the P90,
that's what happens, right? The Pro 90, as she was calling it.
But that's the thing, that she wasn't picking up the AWP. No one was picking up the AWP on the side of Dignitas. So now we move on to an extremely AWP heavy map. Yes, it favors Dignitas inherently, but still, with the lack of the AWP on that CT side, we could see a good chance for CLG to actually get the ball rolling. It could go either way.
All right then, prediction-wise, I'm going to put you under the bus. What are you saying for the first map on Train? Who do you think it's going to go?
For the first map, since I have to say 2-1, I'm probably going to say Dignitas are going to take Train. It's going to be very close. I'm aiming for like 16-14. We're going to go all 30 rounds.
So there are two ways this could go, right? I'm going to lay out the
whole idea.
First. The whole idea, then I'll give my prediction. I feel like CLG, this series is so random. CLG could 2-0 it completely, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Or Dignitas win. I don't think CLG take this in 3 maps because of the map Cobble being the 3rd one, right? So CLG have to win this map. That being said, I made it very obvious. Train is just such a great map for Dignitas, such a bad map for the CLG side. So I've got to go with this one for being Dignitas. And I think it's even going to be a more dominant scoreline. I'm thinking 16-10.
Oh, okay.
I think I'm going to go for Dignitas as well. I'm going to agree with you. I think Dignitas could take this, mainly because of the bans that came out from CLG Red. I think they've wanted to avoid Train. Maybe that was just a tactic. Maybe they're just trying to divert their opposition. Maybe they're thinking this group stage is a little bit easier than the semi-final might be, so perhaps that was something they went for.
Yeah, mind games are a real thing when you're playing group stages and you have veto systems like this, and there's so much time between the tournaments. Then this kind of like mind game with the veto is actually really important.
See, that being said, though, because CLG actually have had their issues previously in getting out of groups at previous events. I mean, for example, ESWC, we can look at, they had a struggle there.
Yeah.
So I feel like playing mind games in such a huge tournament to not veto a map that you're good at doesn't really make much sense.
Saving stats for major.
Saving stats for the finals, right? But looking at CLG on this map, I just can't see them taking it, right? Just even with the AWP, it's so favourable for Dignitas.
Now, realistically, can either of these teams go on to beat Secret? Do you think? You guys obviously casted all the group stages game yesterday. You saw how well Secret were playing. Is there any chance anyone can match them?
Okay, I think, again, very variable, but I think if CLG can 2-0 this series and show that they are above the level of Dignitas by a huge margin, there is a chance. I don't think Dignitas can beat Secret. I mean, we saw them have their struggles in groups. We know what we're talking about. So, I mean, going into this one, if it's a 2-0, there's a very good chance for CLG to take it, but I don't think even CLG will win this in a 2-1 fashion if it does go to Cobble.
So right now we have the knife round on our screens. Of course, we are on Train. That means the CT side, of course, is the preferred one. And this is actually one of the knife rounds that really matters a lot. And we're going to see, of course, the stabbing here being carried out and eventually going to come down to a 1v1, which Dignitas will win. That means they have the option of going CT here on Train.
Yeah, absolutely huge for Dignitas taking the knife round here. But that's going to be all from us on the analysis desk. Let's throw it over to our casters. We're going to run you through the action. It's some beautiful men. It's Tom and it's Harry.
Isn't he sweet? Thank you very much, Dan. Yeah, it is going to be me, Tom, and Harry going to be joining me for this one. Obviously, we are going to go into the first map relatively soon, already seeing the knife round, and I am looking forward to this matchup. It is quite nice that it's gone like EU one side, then we've got
NA the other. Yeah, no, that is good.
Me in the middle to see who is the best in the world. I think that's the best way that things could have gone.
The best of the EU versus the best of the NA, and yeah, no, that is exciting. Coming into this though, the analyst desk, they've already kind of spoken about everything that we need to speak about, but I suppose we can elaborate on a couple of things. So, yeah, CLG versus Team Dignitas is going to be the first best of 3 today in the semis, and there's a few interesting things I think we can look at, one of which is going to be CLG and just how they've been performing on that CT side. I would say they've looked incredibly strong across both maps yesterday. Them getting to start on the T side isn't really ideal for them, especially not on Dig's map pick. And that is something that we are going to have to bear in mind. This is, of course, a CT-sided map as well. Team Dignitas were the ones to pick it. So to kickstart the pistol anyway, we're going to be seeing CLG. They sent 3 players down towards Ivy. Now, Kath is going to be watching this angle and should be able to spot these players as they try and cross. It looks like right now CLG are going to go for a split out through Ivy, sending a couple of players over towards Pop as well.
And they do actually have a very quick rotation at the moment over on that B side. They're going to be sitting, waiting, and just can quickly duck back through the connector, so shouldn't be too much of a problem yet. They're not going to spot anybody going aggressive over towards that B site either. Now, they do have a little bit of utility onto Miss Harvey. Now, I'm interested in what she's going to use the Molotov for. Now, that could be used to just block off connector when they actually go towards the site, and for now they're just going to wait. They're going to bait out the time, hope that the CTs are going to take some aggression, find some info, but at the moment they are just sitting stumm, just going to stay on the site, hold their angles, and make sure that nobody can get in anywhere, just not by over-rotating.
Yeah, just going to be opting to play this extremely passively, and well, now they're going to finally take this peek, and there's Cat to kickstart things. Going to be able to find one, and Departed looking to try and fall on back as the push does come through. That smoke going to deny any sort of trade to come in from her teammates. Kath has to continue to give up all this ground. Guy's going to go down, though. It's Kath finds herself a second. She's locked down Ivy in a big way. Does, however, allow one player to sneak in through CT. Bomb's already going down over towards that B site as well. And Benita, she's not ready to go down on that lurk in through CT. Picks up one frag and is still going to be a huge problem in the back line here.
Yeah, she's got to be absolutely key in this situation. Looks for the first, manages to get it, and the second as well, bringing it back to a 2 versus 2. The bomb will be tapped, trying to bring them back. They don't actually have a kit in this scenario. Milk's going to go aggressive, but now they've got to get rid of Benita. She's got that tech. They're already defusing the bomb. It just has to be down to Rain to try and stop it. Only going to be 3 seconds left on the clock. She's going to go pre-firing and gets it as well. Ace in the pistol round. What a start for CLG Red.
Yeah, you could not have asked for a better start than that, Tom.
Oh, well, I say CLG Red. Benita.
Yeah, Benita gets the ace. And, you know, that Tech 9 play in through CT spawn ultimately going to be paying off. It was looking like the defuse would have came in, but she does get there just fast enough, and that's because they didn't have the kit over on the CT side. So that will be CLG Red picking up the first round. And a very good start for them. Let's not forget, you know, notoriously this map is CT-sided. Grabbing that pistol is going to be phenomenal. But a nade stack in through mid. Here comes the artillery. Di's going to be feeling the full brunt of that as she now falls on back. The rest of CLG, they're making their way towards B. Emily and Rain here to try and hold this down. Deagle, the hand cannon on the back of Rain. Emily's here as well, and while they're both going to fall in rapid succession, Sight's going to go the way of CLG Red, and Bomb is going to go down. Star on the rotate, going to fall in the hands of Die as well. Gooseberry will get one, but that is it. 2v4 for the retake.
Yeah, the Scout may be able to do a little bit of extra damage. A couple of low players, but obviously I'm going to want to bring this into the next round. Not really too much of a chance to challenge. Gooseberry can find something, maybe pick up a rifle. I think there's only actually one in play in Benita, so the likelihood of being able to get there is going to be quite slim. SMGs on the rest of the players, just trying to farm up as much cash as possible, but they are looking like they're just going to save the remaining weaponry, go into the next round and try and do some damage there as well.
Yeah, they do manage to isolate Kat now. They know where she is, and they are going to try and take this scout off of her if they can. Just swarming around. Gooseberry able to find one as well onto Die. That should be a UMP scavenged. She's in danger of being traded out by Benita, but she can't quite get there in time. So they do actually grab the UMP and save the scout, which gives them a little bit to play around with into this round. CLG, though, they do have no problem still converting that second. They should be able to get a third. It's just, can that UMP and scout combo they were able to carry forward into this round be enough to deny any sort of play?
Yeah, especially if they are going to pick up an AWP. It's something we have questioned for this Team Dignitas side. If they can get a kill or two with that UMP, it will enable it to come into play. Die is just going to go straight out over towards the side. But in the meantime, there's aggression, and while Rain is actually going to take down her teammate. One kill for Kat will at least bring it back a little bit, but not the start they wanted in this position. They're actually going to just gather up over towards ramp. This could be some potential for her to get a kill or two. Obviously, they're going to be buying up in the next round anyway, so any damage she can do will definitely be beneficial going into the future rounds.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the scout working alongside that UMP, the scout can do 70 damage a hit. That's going to tag them down to a couple of shots from the UMP, and as Emily pushes onto the site, going to be able to find Benita, turning it into a 3-on-3. Artstar doing some work with this scavenged UMP, and suddenly things looking quite doable here in the blink of an eye. It's all going to be on Potter, 1v2. She's got to try and deny the defuse. They don't have a kit to play around with, but they know where she is, and there's Artstar to find that frag. I think there's enough time left for the defuse as well. And it looks like, yeah, it looks like Dignitas going to be able to pull one back, really, when they had next to nothing into that round.
Yeah, a 5-7, a UMP, which originally didn't manage to do anything, and then the Scout, which did a hell of a lot of damage all the way around. That is not a good situation for CLG Red. They are going to be able to buy back up, but that is a very costly round and a lot of money gathered from that CT side. Now, Emily's actually going to be picking up the AWP. There's something we did question. I think we saw her as one of the only players who even picked it up at all. It was picked up on Overpass at one point, but she was also entry fragging that map, so it was a little bit questionable. Aggressive push starting the round, but actually it's going to be the Molotov of Artstar that takes down Miss Harvey, not working out early into the round, and already the advantage over towards that CT side.
Yeah, Potter able to try and equalize things back into a 4-on-4. The push continues in towards the side. Kath and Artstar, they're shutting things down, but then Die able to trade things back into a 2-on-3. Right now, they have traded out every frag they've faced, with the exception of Miss Harvey early on. But there's Potter to find herself a second, just going to be so key on that AWP out towards the A site, locking down these long angles. Now, Artstar has made her way up and towards heaven. Potter should be able to try and spot this out as she just peeks up from the top of the train. Now going to be peering down with Rain as well on the site. They do have a bit of a crossfire set up, but Rain's actually going to rotate on back, thinking that, you know, with how much time it has taken, Bomb could have rotated around over towards B, so this is going to make taking this A site down much easier. They just have to deal with Artstar, who right now is watching the angle from over towards Heaven, and Potter, do you see her? No, not in time. She just walked out. Crab walking over the top of the train does go down now. It's all on Die, 1v2.
He's going to be looking, knows where one of these players is. The rotation hasn't actually come back in. See, not being spotted. Now, sneaking up the ladder is a possibility, especially with this UMP. Can just sort of go for an aggressive burst out, pre-fires, gets the kill as well. Trade will be looking to come in at the moment, getting pretty close, but it will be Rain to finish things off. A lot of damage done, but I don't think CLG are going to have the money to buy back up.
Well, yeah, I mean, they didn't get that bomb down. Yeah, if they got the bomb down, buying down here would have been entirely plausible. They would have more than enough money. But, you know, most likely we're just going to be seeing those players with a little bit extra cash, you know, buying down. And there we go. Emily puts the AWP away. It's back, you know, in their arsenal. And instead, she's going to go to the trusty P90. You know, we saw her pick this up a lot yesterday. And she does make it work. So, going to be interesting to see if she can make quick work of these mostly unarmored opponents. Kath as well going to be on the MP9, my favorite SMG. So she's going to be taking that over towards Pop Dog, looking to try and perhaps make some aggression up towards the ladder. Now Harvey is watching the angle. And then they're going to boost up Potter over towards Ivy as well. Not going to spot anyone out just yet, as Emily's playing things quite passively. Just going to be watching the push when it does come in. But if she peeks around, going to be in danger of being spotted on out. Smoke comes through. That's going to render her position null and void, leaving the player on A isolated and alone from any protection at Ivy.
This is a lot of utility being expended, though, to try and take control of this position of the map. They are also lining up over towards Pop Dog, where we do have the other SMG, only one for the P90. Quite expensive, will actually be picked up now. No armor on a P90 is going to make Potter, well, that is a horrible weapon to have in that sort of situation. Already we are going to see the Flames take one down. Potter will be removed by the MP9, and well, now it's all down to one. Milk actually gets the kill. That should be a bomb plant, unless they can actually dunk her out of the round with a nade. That's absolutely fine from CLG Red's perspective. They're going to make themselves a little bit of extra money, and will be having a buy in the next round.
Yeah, I mean, a relatively low investment coming into this from them now means that they're going to find themselves with more than enough cash into the next round to buy up. But Team Dignitas, they do secure themselves the third and actually take the lead over CLG in this map. But could be plenty of money over on that T side to endorse a buy. Potter's going to have her trusty AWP in hand, and Emily's going to be picking up one as well. So I guess on this map, Emily's going to be the player to fall into that AWPing role.
Either a gun that takes a lot of bullets to get a kill.
I know, yeah, exactly.
Or one.
A gun that you can run and spray with and it's still fairly accurate, or a gun that you can fire a singular bullet.
We can say she's dynamic. I think that's the best word to use. I'm personally not a fan of the gun. I'm going to put that out there, but look at the aggression coming out. Doesn't work at all. Benita shuts down both players over towards Ivy and just going to go very aggressively, pushing back in, leaving Kath completely blind, trying to fade away. Benita doesn't look like she's done yet, but well, Kath denies, at least bringing it back to a 4 versus 3. The AWP of Emilite will pick off Milk as well. And now they have a good opportunity to fight this one back.
Yeah, Potter's still over towards Ivy trying to make this work. Push on out, but it's Die to find the next. Kath goes down over towards Old Hell, and that's going to be the woman advantage now in favor of CLG. Bomb should be able to go down as well, as right now the only player who's remotely nearby is Emily. She's going to get Molotov'd out. Actually pushes, on back to hold the angle passively. It's Goosebreeder on the flank, who might wait to pick up a couple of frags early on. Potter's going to be watching the angle though, with the AWP does go for the pre-fire and finds that damage. He's going to be tagged down to 20 HP. And at this point, Goosebreeder should just be thinking about saving. It's 1v3. Saving the M4 would pay dividends into the next round, but no, she's going to go for it, and Die punishes her for that. That's going to be 3-3 secured now as CLG Red. They tied things up.
Yeah, and actually that rifle really would have been quite valuable for the team. You look at the amount of money they have. They could have got an AWP. They could have got a few rifles in play, but instead they're going to be a little bit short, and they are actually going to force in this situation. Now, this is interesting. They're going to try and fight it back now. Obviously, with 1900 in the next round, the buy wouldn't be too much better, so it's definitely understandable why they're going to go for it. The problem is, this could actually give a great chance for CLG Red to actually take quite a hefty lead over on that T side.
Yeah, I mean, that's the issue, right? You go for this gamble, and whilst it is still early days, if you allow the T side to start to chain a couple of rounds to get the build up that economy, not only is it incredibly hard to break, but letting them get ahead on the T side is bad enough anyway, right? I mean, Train is a fairly CT-sided map, and it's one that Dignitas don't want to relinquish that CT side on, especially when you consider how strong CLG have looked on the CT side of the last couple of maps that they've played. So, it is going to be important for Team Dignitas to manage that economy effectively. Now, Benita going to pop flash herself over towards Ivy. Potter is able to find one as well. He pushes aggressively over in A main. Kath going to get punished for that aggression. Now Emily looking to try and push through Ivy. You can see that actually Benita's just fallen on back. The timing going to be in her side. Oh no, Benita! She turns on round, pivots on the spot and says, I might not be holding the close angle anymore, but you're not having that area of the map. She's going to fall, and that's going to be the advantage now heavily in favor of CLG Red, who look to try and collapse out on towards this A site.
There's only going to be one player in contention. It is the rifle for the CT side, but the problem is there's just no utility. There's no stopping power other than this rifle. And already we are going to lose it. Artstar has rotated back in, so has Rain with the dig, but is unable to connect at the moment. Bomb is going to be going down, actually denied, but it won't matter too much as only the Deagle remains to try and fight back versus 3. The eco inevitable, and Potter will pick up a second.
Yeah, that's gonna be...
Benita's looking so strong.
That's something I was going to say, right? So Potter's been playing phenomenally well as of late. I mean, in the last couple of games, and that's normally what we've seen to be the win condition for CLG. The one reason why coming into this it was a lot more 50-50 is that Dignitas kind of have 2 players who have been performing consistently well, and that's been Rain and Kath, and Rain's now having a very hard time. And you've also got Benita kind of stepping up into this matchup. So now having these 2 very, very powerful fraggers on the side of CLG, definitely going to pay off as they head, of course, into these semi-final games. And I think poises them in a potential to get this in a 2-1 fashion. But as they make their way out towards the A site, Harvey going to be able to find 2 with that UMP, looking to try and make some serious money. Goosebrader does shut her down, but the trade's going left and right. It doesn't mean that CLG Red, they pick up that 5th, and they only lose Miss Harvey going into that, and that was the UMP. So relatively little economic damage done. You can see they're fast accruing a lot of money in those bank accounts, Tom.
Yeah, we are actually going to see the AWP back in play. Emily really hasn't been able to do too much. It's been Potter ruling the show in the sniper battle. It's going to be glass cannon as well, and she's going to have to be very careful from any nades that are thrown out. We are just going to see a very aggressive push. I think this is just coming down to the fact that no one's really denying the AWP shot, not going to connect. Going to continue to push down past blue train. Emily is trying to hold on to the site. Decent positioning, maybe able to catch one. Tries to turn back around. If somebody pushes the smoke at this point in time, they may be able to finish her off. Trades coming in. Potter with the AWP, managing to bring it back to at least a 4 versus 3. Potter doing a lot, actually, but the problem is every time she finds a kill, another comes in another direction. Now she's going to be down to the 1 versus 2. Peeks out. Neither of the players actually looking in this angle at the moment, but the Molotov will force Rain off of the site. Obviously not in the direction of her AWP, so not going to be helping too much, but at least she knows it's clear. She really needs one of these players to make a mistake, and can she can spot the feet underneath the tray. It's going to do a nice amount of damage. Rain down to 24 HP. They now have the knowledge of where she is as well, though.
Yeah, I mean, that, you know, spotting the feet from underneath the train, going to do a lot of damage now, makes this a lot more possible. Rain's been tagged down low. The pistol could be enough to finish her off, and Rain's going to force the issue through the smoke. Potter's not going to see this coming, and down she goes. That'll be Rain picking that round up, just securing the 4th for Team Dignitas. Spotting the feet, though, underneath the train, that was really... I didn't even know you could see through that gap there. I just thought Potter, staying true to her name, really is a wizard and just knew somehow. But no, instead, it is going to be Team Dignitas picking up their 4th. Now only 1 round behind, and quite crucially so in that round that they picked that one up. I mean, when you look at CLG Red's economy now, you can see that it is starting to kind of be whittled away at slowly. Of course, if they'd been able to pick that one up, it would have been an eco for Team Dignitas, and that would have seen CLG Red propelled themselves not only into the economic lead, but just taking simultaneous rounds based on the weakened Team Dignitas economy.
Already looking like they may be rotating a 2nd player over towards this B site for a few nades actually thrown out in this sort of direction. Now, I think that there's a good chance that CLG Red could actually pull off quite a few fakes, because they do seem a little bit overzealous with their rotates. 2 players, in fact, ducking into connector just from 1 smoke. Now, that could be enough if 1 player fakes and then 4 players push A, that you're just that second out of touch and losing around. So they are going to be having to be very, very careful. Now, I like this position from Rain. Obviously, it's quite difficult to hold from upper at the same time, and will need support from Emilite with the AWP, but that's exactly why she's holding from the connector.
Yeah, the crossfire's going to get set up, and as you said, they throw that singular smoke out towards A. Now, if this forces Emilite to rotate off and leaves Rain to hold solo, then it would work brilliantly, but they just decide to smoke it. Now going to go aggressive. Rain has to turn her attention towards... The upper's going to be able to find 1, finds 2. Bomb's going to go down. Die finally trades that out, but it is a 2-for-1 trade, and Emilite while she's in the air, does find another. Potter able to try and equalize things back out as best she can. Going to be pushing up through the smoke very aggressively here. Bombs down on the side. Potter's going to be tagged down low as well. And this push has been slowed right on down. You can see that Benita hasn't even moved into the site to help out Potter right now, leaving her essentially in this 1-on-2. Finally going to be rejoining her comrade, but it's Goosebeater on the flank, and she can do so much damage. No one's going to be watching it. Potter goes down. Goosebeater going to find a second as well. And that's going to be that push just guillotined before they have so much of a chance to even get the bomb down.
And the way they've actually switched things up at the moment is that Benita's not the one entry frag, and I'm really confused by that. It just seems like a player who you'd want in first, finding all the kills in the rounds that they've actually managed to win just straight off the bat. So maybe switch things up, just put her in as that entry fragger role. Doesn't seem like it would be too much of a problem. And obviously the positions that were being held weren't anything too crazy. I don't think they should have got 2 players on the side there. It should have been a trade. I think in both situations, in fact, with the flank from the FAMAS, if the teammate calls it, that should be a trade. So needing to be a little bit better. Obviously, this is the semi-final. There's still the big game to come. So I think both these teams, whoever is the victor, is going to have a tough time. So we are going to have a bye. CLG Red got themselves a couple of Tech-9s in the miss. Are going to go for the boost, and the peak from Goosebeater, not expecting it, will give the advantage over towards CLG.
Yeah, the bomb is going to be over towards that B site there. Milk just holding on to that tightly. Looking to try and make some progress. Harvey's there as well. The 2 Tech-9s over towards B, and actually they've been on a fake rotate over towards this A site as a result of finding that first frag. You can see they rotate Elite round now to rejoin the rest of her teammates out towards A, and well, down goes Cat. That's going to be Ivy opened on up. Now they're going to look to push in through CT potentially, and instead actually just going to wrap straight on towards the A side. Arstar's going to go aggressive though. It's going to fall at the hands of Potter as she shuts down that potential flank. Elite going to be the next to fall, and now it's all on Rain with the UMP, looking to try and rain some bullets down range, but still in a 1v5. They are going to come in on the hunt, find that first frag. Going to be crowned herself an AK. Actually gets a second as well. Harvey getting a bit overzealous there on the peak. It's going to go down, trying to trade things out, but Rain just opts to play things safe. Going to pick up the AWP, look to try and fall on back and save that into the next round, but it will be CLG Red picking up their 6th.
They don't have a lot of money to play with on the CLG Red side. I know they want this AWP out of the hands of Rain, but if they lose too many more players here, this really could be very costly for them. Even if just the AWP is taken out of play. Rain, however, is starting to get surrounded by the remaining players on the site. Not going to be able to connect anything else, and it will eventually be Die to finish things off. So they do get it. They keep 3 players alive, which isn't bad, especially on the T side. And with 6 rounds already, they are looking pretty strong at this moment in time.
Yeah, I think a much better T-side performance than I would say that we expected from them. I don't know if you going into it figured that Team Dignitas would have more rounds by now, but based on how they performed in this map previously, as well as just kind of how Team Dignitas definitely do seem to enjoy this map, I definitely expected them to have a better CT side. But regardless, it is going to be the eco coming on out from Team Dignitas. They are going to be punished finally at just the full force of an economic reset. Actually, 2 players just sticking on the vanilla USPs. Only waiting down with bated breath towards the bottom of the ladder, trying to see if anyone comes down pop. Now Harvey is watching the angle. Gooseberry is just on the other side of that metal grating. But for the time being, CLG Red playing this perfectly, just holding these angles, waiting to see if Team Dignitas go aggressive. And for the time being, it looks like they might try and force something out potentially.
I like that they've got a kit on the CT side though, so clearly still have belief in the pistols. I think many people do at the moment. Not broken at all, but we are going to just see them gathering back up, looking like they're going to try and challenge this B side. And I like this in eco situations because most of the time you are going to be taking longer range battles, and that's one of the things that makes this side very retakeable, is the fact that it just gives such long range battles over to the CTs as they push back in. But in this situation, there's only pistols, so you obviously have a huge advantage. However, the bomb yet to really make its move. They do have 40 seconds left on the clock, not really anything to worry about as of yet. There's only 1 player actually in position, that's going to be Kath with the USP, and nothing will be achieved. And now, well, they are just going to come in with this flank. Quick push in, but Milk ready and waiting to stop anybody from behind, and that's just going to be an easy round coming out from CLG Red.
Yeah, Team Dignitas now looking to try and do some economic damage if they can. Rain might be able to find Benita here. She is just going to be holding the angle. Benita slow walks around, but ultimately the aim punch and the lack of armor on Rain, they're going to be too much as she does go down. Emily and Artstar still alive here, trying to save over towards A. I guess trying to hold into the kit and the P250. Artstar doesn't really have too much to lose. I just guess she doesn't want to give away another death. And they are looking to try and find any CLG Red players as they exit from the site. But it will be a 7th round picked up for CLG Red. 5-7 right now, a 2-round advantage over on their T side. One away as well from, technically winning out the half and going into that second half with the 1-round advantage, which I think moving into the CT side, having 7 rounds under their belt already is a really, really good place for CLG Red to be in. And potentially, if they take this, I would say we could see this very easily go 2-0 in favor of CLG Red.
Yeah, Cash has been a map that they've been very willing to play. Obviously, that they had a choice between all the maps that they've played so far and decided to go for that. Obviously, Mirage was vetoed out very early on, so they couldn't pick that, which was probably the strongest map we've seen them play so far. But Cobb was still in there, and both teams very aggressive. Look at Rain. First kill goes away. She's actually going to repeat. Now, I don't like that. I think that's a little bit overzealous. Loses the advantage that they gained, and the reason they went for something like that is because at the moment they're not in a good state utility-wise, so to just hand that straight back over, the T side now have a much better buy going into the round, and there's less players to actually defend the sites.
Yeah, I mean, already they're having to ration these players amongst the sites now, like you're saying. They've lost Rain. As a result, Arstar now having to rotate back over towards A. She's going to have to try and play the fast rotate, potentially through connector, whilst it is still a very viable position to play. While you're a woman down on your team, it's still getting used to the woman, having to say that instead of man down, but yeah.
You're still getting used to women, we get it.
Yeah, well, while that is the case, it's like, now you've got Kath over towards the B site. She's there alone, and it looks like Gooseberry going to be the player now to rotate on round. This leaves 2 players over towards A, right? So you have a very, very weak hold. Emelec can very easily be smoked off and rendered completely useless. The push can come in. Now, luckily enough, Arstar does find 1.5 and it's not going to be traded on out. So actually, they take the advantage, but Potter finally equalizing this out. Now it's going to be on Arstar to hold down the A site. She's able to get 1, putting it back into a 2-on-2. And Gooseberry is pushed out aggressively on towards the site. Potter going to continue her reign of terror. But it's ultimately going to be Dai to be tagged down low. Doesn't deny the bomb plant, and Dai just keeps going. She's dedicated and then finds the frag. That's what you get for trying to deny that plant. And now it's all on Kath, 1v2. Looking to try and pick this round up. You see that Dai's been tagged down low. Potter's not doing too great either, and she's going to fall. In comes Kath, but Dai says no. She protects that bomb with her life, and it is going to be a 5-8 score.
I don't know. That's the question in that round. So many opportunities to take her down while planting the bomb. And I think it was just one of those situations where you thought, I've already shot her enough, she must be dead. Just don't pay attention to the kill feed. That is really unfortunate and actually going to set them back to an eco once again. So CLG Red, they have won the half. They're going to be pushing in to look to take 9. And this is looking dominant at this point.
Yeah, there's nothing really you could fault right now with how CLG Red have been playing this. It's just been textbook from beginning to end, only really losing a couple of chance rounds here and there, and that's been Team Dignitas' main problem. They haven't had CLG Red in a vulnerable economic situation in a long time, whereas we constantly seen Team Dignitas, scraping together to buy up what they can. Ultimately, it's been very little across the board. We've seen the AWP in Emily's hand, maybe for 2 or 3 rounds in total this whole game, whereas Potter never has that issue. She's constantly on it, and she's constantly making things work. This time, the pistol's going to be doing a lot of damage over towards this B site. Rain's on the site with the Deacon, going to find 1 raining more bullets down range, but it's going to fall as guess she's lactose intolerant. Milk finds 2 frags in towards the site. Now it's all on Gooseberry at 1v4. Does have a 5-7 to play around with. But ultimately, bomb's going to be planted. And this is a situation where it would require a miracle to retake this site. She's just looking to do damage.
There's a few low players. The problem is even with damage in this sort of scenario, it's the last round, so in the next. So no matter what, they're going to be buying back up. Both teams should have a decent buy back on the board. She's just hoping maybe to get a gun. That would probably be the best case scenario. If she can take a gun back out of this round, just basically build up their utility. Doing a lot of damage, in fact. Maybe even hold a couple of players towards the side. Just going to go pushing, but don't think she's going to find anything. Just fade away, I guess. Keep the 5-7. Unfortunately, not going to be able to achieve too much, and I don't even think there's any weaponry to really find in this scenario either. So doesn't really gain anything from this. We will see the buy coming back up. Another glass cannon AWP for Elite. Again, hasn't had too much impact so far. Potter definitely, well, she's leading the board, so can't really say it's been performing poorly as of yet. And, well, look, 9-5. This is also, it has to be said, T-side AWP is much harder. You have to go peeking into angles a lot of the time, and she's been doing very, very well. So the scary prospect is then going onto the CT side. That's worrying.
No, I mean, the only kind of advantage that we could see Team Dignitas have about CLG moving on to that, well, you know, we'll leave this point to the halftime. Let's see, though. Kath gonna line them up and knock them down. Finds two, looking for a third, but Potter says no. Gonna be able to pick that frag up with the AWP. Now looking to try and fade away with the bomb over towards B. They've caused a hefty rotate as everyone from Team Dignitas now over towards this A site, and that's the B site open. Harvey's more than aware of this as she creeps on out. Silent and sneaking on in, and that's gonna be the bomb going down. Bomb's gonna be over towards B. The rotate coming on through now. It is the advantage going the way of Team Dignitas in terms of how many players left alive. But Harvey, she's going to be able to find Emily on the rotate, putting it back into a 3-on-3. They lose that AWP, and now it's Rifles to face off against the two players and the AWP for CLG Red. They're trying to retake as best they can. Gooseberry going to be the first on the scene, pushing up aggressively, but Harvey actually doesn't find that frag. That's going to be a quick 180 on the spot from Goosebreeder to pick that one up, leaving it all on Potter 1v2. Now, Goosebreeder is a flashbang away from death. The Molotov will be able to finish her off, but she's going to be tagged down low. Molly goes out, and Rain's got it. You've got enough time. That's going to be the defuse coming in, and Dignitas, they pick it up. She dies in the fire.
Goosebreeder killed herself. Just at the end of the round. But they won the round. That's the most important thing. They get themselves a 6th. Obviously, if they then get the pistol, they can even up the scoreline as well. So definitely a good chance to still go into this. Also, we're waiting to see the CT side set up on train. Like, we've already been told that, well, we've seen previously that this is the map that CLG have particularly wanted to play. They've been vetoing it at the beginning of each veto process that we've seen in the best of one so far now. Unless that's mind games. If that's mind games, that's incredible. They've just been going, yeah, what we'll do is in the groups, we'll ban one map that we've actually been practicing a lot and then just throw it in towards the end, so we'll pick it against us. Now, that would be insane. I don't know whether that's true.
That's dedication,
I may just be reading into everything. I'd like to think that, because I always remember Secret being very good at Cobble, and they've been banning Cobble pretty much every time at the start, so it could just be like insane mind games there as well. But going on to the CT side, this is where things will become a bit more interesting. They do have a stand-in. I think they've been practicing with her for a few weeks now at least, so that's not too much of a problem. But obviously going onto the CT side of a map like Train, rotation is very important. You're going to have sort of gambles as well, like whether or not you send 2 players over towards the B site or just leave it with 1, where you're actually playing the AWP, how aggressive you go. So definitely going to look to see what they can actually do on this side of things. And while looking at the buy from the T's at the moment, I'm thinking we're just going to see an aggressive B push and then have that molly for a little bit later on. Nice start though, Rain and Kath, 2 entries.
Oh, make that 3 entries as Harvey goes down as well. They did play a very heavy stack over towards B, and ultimately it accomplishes nothing. It's all on Die and Milk to make their way in towards the site to try and retake, but at this point it seems like it's going to be in vain. The advantage heavily in favor of Team Dignitas here. Bombs down. Milk does have a defuse kit to play around with it. D is able to find some damage as well. Emily looking to try and escape on 1 HP, but there we go. They chain up 2 very, very quickly. Kath finally able to dispatch of Milk, leaving it all on Die. 1v3. She does pick up a second frag now, and she's still going. There is a diffuse kit for her to pick up, but she has to double on back, and yeah, she doesn't.
And there's that molly.
And there's the Molotov to come in. Now, if she was on full HP and you started diffusing in the Molotov, you'd actually survive. But yeah, Dow to pick up Emily, the 1 HP player, leaving it all on Artstar, but she's done enough with the Molotov. That's going to be Team Dignitas to pick up their 7th and the pistol round. So now's their potential to equalize things to a 9-9 scoreline, unless CLG Red can come back in this force buy.
You're actually going to have a relative buy as well for Dai. She gets 3 kills, already has some Kevlar, has a kit in play as well, so definitely the potential to do quite a bit of damage. We've already seen them do, well, we saw on the other side, Dignitas do very well in the 3rd round buy with the Scout. They've got a double Scout as well. On the other side, we do have MP7s and a P90, so I wouldn't even go against it. The thing I like, though, they have actually bought 2 rifles, so they are playing much safer than what we've seen some of the teams do previously in the tournament. Harvey, nice shot, though. Rain is going to be down. Catching one on the cross, and the scouts on this B site will actually be very effective. Now, they should have already seen the bomb crossing, so the rest of the team should be rotating over. Harvey missing the shots. Emily will eventually spray her down with the Pro 90 and bring it back to a 4 versus 4.
Yeah, Potter's already on the site with Deagle as well. The scouts not having much of an impact. They are going to find themselves 2-on-4. Dai trying to go for the crazy nose goes, oh, she's going to get a knife. What the hell was that? How does this happen? That's a little bit of extra cash in her wallet. But it is going to be 1v3. She's looking to try and fall away. She's got armor, she's got a scout, plenty of money to play around with. Artstar might be able to pick this up, but no, she wanted to make her way down Ivy, and it does look like she better hold into the scout. So she gets that knife, which, you know, never should have really happened. Emily getting caught looking completely the wrong way. Team Dignitas do pick up their 8th, but She's able to
She
save...
gets the tag through the smoke as well.
She's able to save the scout and the armor, and a little bit of utility as well.
Yeah, more importantly, with the money that she's built up going into the next
That's
round,
an AWP.
she'll be able to buy an AWP for Potter as well, who was sort of already saving for it, but I think it probably would have been glass cannon anyway, so it's definitely going to be a great opportunity for them to actually get that into the next round and have armor with it as well. So not a bad position to be in. 4 rifles on the board for Dignitas, going to be playing this one relatively safe. Again, going for a similar strategy from what we saw previously, but the problem is there's a lot of players here, a lot of pistols, and the scout will be rotating in afterwards. Already 1 kill will come in for the CT side. Of course, any damage is welcome. RB's still going to be on the site and actually tagging quite a lot of these players. You have to remember, there is a scout still to come back in. And 2 of these players are 1 shot away. Even the P250 may be able to finish off 1 or 2. Unfortunately, the timing is going to get the better. Now, Dai actually has a great chance to do a hell of a lot of damage.
Yeah, Dai being gifted essentially a situation where she's retaking with the AWP. Instead, going to switch things out towards the P250 at close range, but Emily is going to be alone on the site. Tagged down fairly low as well, in danger of being dispatched by this P250. But there are still 2 players to try and trade things out in the form of Artstar and Kath, who are playing this very passively, and this is just a textbook play, right? Bombs down. They don't have a Molotov to try and keep them off, but instead they're just going to let things tick away, and Molotov's going to get caught out in the open by Kath, who is relentless and wants to try and shut her down. It'll be a 9-9 scoreline. Dignitas, they tie things up, but CLG Red now can finally afford a buy.
Yeah, and Potter is actually going to be able to afford the AWP on her own, so that's absolutely fine. Anyway, we'll see an extra utility and a kit over towards Dai. And not a bad buy overall, but we are back to an even scoreline. And if the Ts can win this round, they can go for that break. Now, you have to remember that they invested relatively heavily into that round, still lost a couple of players. So their economy is not going to be anything crazy, but they're just going to go for the aggressive push straight out. They know there's not a lot of stopping power. There's not a lot of utility that can be thrown out by the CLG red side. Dai is going to peek and find the first kill as they get closer towards the site. It will be a 2-for-1 at the beginning of the round.
Yeah, bomb's going to go down, but Benita pushes through the smoke and going to get 2 as she chains them together very rapidly, leaving it all on Gooseberry, who does find 3 frags in the smoke. She's on the hat trick now, but Dai up towards heaven. She better pick this up relatively easily. I mean, she's tagged down so low, trying to maneuver through the smoke as best she can, but it's going to get caught out in the open, and there's Potter to shut that down. It is going to be the round going the way of CLG. They pick up their 10th, and that's going to be the buy round as well, rather crucially, showing that when they get back onto these rifles, they're going to be in full control on their CT side. Crucially as well, the AWP's still going to be in play. But now we see Team Dignitas with enough money to buy down as a result of keeping so many players alive.
And the bomb.
In the pistols and the bomb, exactly. And Emily going to be picking up the AWP.
Yeah, it doesn't have any head armor, so a little bit risky. But at the same time, I think they do need to challenge versus... Actually, Miss Harvey just got shot. Where did she get shot from? Was that a team?
Yeah, I think she got stabbed in the spine.
Not the start, especially when she's going this aggressive, just going to push straight round, still manages to get the first, and actually going to be milked to, well, rectify the situation by getting a 2-for-1 early in the round. So nice start, 4 versus 3. And now actually it's evened out the weaponry as well, because Harvey actually only had a UMP.
Yeah, right now Team Dignitas just going to be sitting pretty over towards Main and Ivy, respectively. You can see 2 players down over towards Ivy, and then they also have Rain, who's going to have to pick that bomb up and, I guess, look to rejoin the rest of their team down towards Ivy so they can try and trade things out. Now, Milk's fairly low, only 5 HP, so she's very, very close to death, but it's still going to be very useful in terms of the utilities she can provide and potentially those trades as well. With the push looking like it's going to be coming in over towards Ivy. Still 50 seconds left for Team Dignitas to change their minds, but they are going to be dedicated to this. Now, the only issue is you've got Benita watching the angle, and she's been hitting her shots right now. Deep
I think
is on the site. And yeah, the smoke has missed. There is a rather notable gap in that, Tom.
Yes. That's not going to be helping them out at all, especially if they're going to look to push past. Actually going to have to re-smoke it, so a lot of utility wasted. Only 30 seconds left as the Molotov will go down. Just looking for this peak now. Actually going to spread as well. Emily going to get burnt down to just 64 HP. The push will be now coming back in over towards this A side, but it should be relatively scripted and great positioning from Dai. She won't manage to hit the shots though, and Rain is going to get the entry. Benita pushing back in. The AWP does its job. Back to a 2 versus 2 with Potter's kill. But actually Milk very, very low, so it's going to be the AWP to do the majority of the damage, and Emily has stepped up, leaving just Milk 5 HP to challenge.
Yeah, 5 HP to Dream, making her way in towards the site. Has so many angles left to check. Time's ticking down, but right now, she has been able to make her way across. Now, Rain's over towards Electric Box and finally peeks out. Is he able to pick up that frag? And that will be the round going the way of Team Dignitas. 10-10, but a tech pause is going to be called in.
Right, never mind.
And tech pause is going to be called off, as there we go. It's all good. We're going to keep going. 10-10 right now. It's all tied up. And
now it's broken again.
Never mind, it's broken again.
Something broke. Well, the thing is, at this point in time, you have to wonder how this is actually going to work out for CLG Red, because they've lost a round straight after winning one. This is going to make things very, very difficult for them going forward. Obviously, they did do quite a bit of damage over towards that T side, but it doesn't really matter. And going into the next, yes, they'll have 1900, but still a lot of the players on their team won't really be able to buy. That sort of 3,500 on die isn't really enough to get anything noteworthy that you want to sort of bring into the round. Yes, they could go a little bit risky. We've seen them previously with the UMPs actually push all the way up B ramp and go for an aggressive push there, have the rifle backing it up, and that worked quite nicely. It worked in that round up until the point where they lost control of Ivy. Now, if that's the case, it's a little bit of a risk, and then they have the chance of then being reset, losing a couple of rounds, and we could see 13, maybe even 14 rounds for Dignitas. Or they double eco here, and then it's an even sort of more interesting situation where you're just going to hand 2 rounds over to Dig. Then you have to fight back with what will be the better buy, Potter on the AWP, or the utility you want. But if you then lose that round, exact same scenario, it's about 14-10.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a very good point, right? Right now, their economy does leave them in a very, very risky scenario with a lot of different options they could decide to go down. A lot of different routes, sorry. But, I mean, I imagine we're just going to see them look to play things safe and try not to give too much away. If they do go for the force buy now, then...
Well, it's next. I don't think they'll force now. Maybe next round. That's what I'm sort of alluding to.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying, right? Yeah, so I think they should save now, force buy next, as opposed to gift that 12th potentially to Team Dignitas. I mean, you would still have a few rifles in play, a couple of UMPs, and CLG Red have shown that they can make it work. And
well, they could also, I think with Milk, the big thing will be, I think, is Milk's extra money. And then she'll probably drop Potter, the AWP, maybe get an ump back. She's been one of the players to go aggressive on B. Yeah. And I think having Potter on the AWP is just going to be absolutely crucial. So it is a risk, but I think they could definitely pull it off. And as you said, you don't want to just be handing rounds over to that T side. It is looking like, in terms of momentum, they're definitely there. And so far, there have been sort of a few problems with the CT defense. What do we watch?
This is Artstar doing the. This is the good luck dance.
I thought it was the rain dance.
No. Oh, there we go. That's the pun. But yeah, no, that's actually really good. That was nice. That was nice work. Yeah, I mean, I think the real issue as well, if CLG Red go ahead and gift 2 rounds the way of Team Dignitas, then at that point they would have allowed their economies to build up too much. If you go for the force buy in the next,
she's just showing what she's actually doing on the screen at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, if you go ahead and give up 2 rounds to the side of Team Dignitas, then their economy is going to start to just grow exponentially from that point onwards, and you're going to put yourself in a very bad place. You're just still smiling. This is the happiest I've seen you all morning because of the dance from Artstar, and
yeah.
she's finally stopped doing it. So there's you're a bit disappointed now, Tom. But yeah, CLG Red, I think we are going to see them just elect to full save here and then go for the buy up next round.
Yeah. Definitely looking also to see like how they're going to switch up the dynamic at the moment. I wouldn't mind seeing some more aggressive AWPing actually coming out from Potter. Like maybe go for the B push, try and make, like, obviously go up the ladder, take it towards the sort of longer range angle and pick somebody off there. Because a lot of the time at the moment, Dig have just been allowed control of certain points of the map. Ivy controlled, I don't think that's too much of a problem at the moment. Obviously in the previous, we saw like a little bit of a mistake where we could have isolated a couple of players. We saw Dye miss a few shots, and that was actually the reason that round sort of went in the other way. But that's always going to happen no matter who you watch. It's just going to be, okay, maybe something goes wrong in this scenario and you've just got to come back from it. The problem was, obviously, Milk very, very low, didn't really have much of a chance, and after plants on A are always going to be very, very difficult to retake from anyway. The problem being, though, is that because of that, we've actually come back into an economic problem. The tech pause, obviously they can't talk during it, but it does give them a little bit of time to sort of have an idea of what they want to do. They can sort of think, or at least Harvey can think about, okay, maybe in the next round we should switch something up, because I do think that at the moment they are looking a little bit flat and passive, and that's not something that you really see on Train too often. I think the AWPers that are going to be the most impactful are going to be the ones that go for the sort of ridiculous plays.
Yeah, right. The real kind of other problem is when you look at Team Dignitas' T side, it's been fairly one-dimensional in terms of how they've been playing things. It's just CLG Red haven't really capitalized on that. I mean, for the most part, they send a couple of players over towards B, and then just kind of wait down by Ivy to see if any aggression comes out. And when we have seen CLG go for those aggressive plays over towards B, they have normally been able to pick up a couple of frags. And I think potentially, if you go over there, with one or two players who are actually fully bought up, you could very easily out-trade the two players that make their way over towards B at the start of every round. And at that point, you've shut down so much control over towards one side of the map. You can afford to rotate maybe an extra player over towards that A site, maintain control of tunnels, and then just play off the rotate because you get the information so much earlier. At the minute, it's very, very reactive. We're not seeing a lot of kind of plays based on information coming out from CLG. Everything is very much, the second it happens, that's just where they have to go to because they don't have any info elsewhere on the map. And like you say, Team Dignitas are being allowed control of a lot of different areas. I mean, A main as well, they can usually bypass that relatively easily because by the time they do send a player there, CLG are so disjointed and have already rotated out of position that they don't really have anyone focusing on A main.
The other thing is just capitalizing on mistakes. So we saw gaps in the smoke, a second smoke go down. You have to know that there's two players there at least. So why not just risk it? Go for a rotate, pull someone over. They didn't actually rotate until very, very late in that situation. You had Die on the site, and then you had one over towards Ivy as well. So if you've seen two smokes come out, you know there's two of the three players there. Gamble. Go for something a little bit more ridiculous.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they can afford to kind of go for these very outlandish plays. I mean, this is a map coming into it that we didn't really expect CLG Red to be able to, do much on, bring much to the table. This was actually back when Team Dignitas played underneath the Selfless organization. This was the map that we saw them go head-to-head on, and it was Selfless's biggest win, 16-5 against CLG on this map. So, they looked very strong on Train in the past. And I think seeing CLG be able to have things 10-10 right now, whilst that does look good, bearing that in mind, you have to also think that, let's not forget, coming into this, it was what, a 9-6 scoreline that's very quickly been equalized up. And now Team Dignitas looking to be very competitive on their T side, which is also unusual because of how strong CLG their CT sides have been looking. And I'm not sure if that is perhaps as a bit of a consequence of having Milk as the stand-in. Maybe Train isn't one that they're that practiced on, because it does look to be one that they've kind of been trying to avoid if they can. I mean, last year as well, even they were 0-2 on it. Every time they played, it was a map that they lost. So
it's actually gone into attack pause now. So technical issues are done. This is all tactical now. So
there we go.
As Javier
From
said
technical to tactical.
Yeah. Don't know why, but
we'll see. I like the fact
they've done it very early.
Now.
The only thing is, I prefer it from my perspective to do a pause going into a buy round. I get that you can sort of continue to think about the strategy in this sort of situation, like going through the round, but it's just the sort of idea that when you have your buy, you know what you want to be getting. You can talk about sort of, okay, where do we want the ult to play? Where do we want this? But sometimes that can be lost when you do something like, we don't know what's going to happen in this round. They could do a hell of a lot of damage, and then the strategy will change. So
yeah, I mean, the other thing as well is you can't play off of spawns if you do it like this. I mean, one of them could have a, Train isn't really one where it perhaps comes into it quite as much, but you can still have very, very strong
like
beam spawns or an Ivy spawn, exactly. But yeah, I mean, still making the decision to take the pause now, I guess another thing would just be, we're already paused. We're already here.
Also, it's early in the half because all this happened
so far. Yeah, that's
the
more crucial.
They lost the pistol, they won one round, and then they got reset. So it's only been a few rounds into this. It's still very possible that they will, well, okay, not win this round. It's very unlikely. It can happen.
Unless those USPs and the 5-7 on Milk goes insane.
Yeah, I kind of hope it doesn't, just because
Milk is full of
the buys.
Milk is full of calcium, and that's meant to be good for teeth and bones. But if she can just shred bones in half with the 5-7, then who knows? Maybe
you need to stop milking those jokes.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, I mean,
I'm only doing one.
I mean, the good thing about this actually is we get to appreciate the stage. I mean, obviously for the people watching back there, everyone in the audience, they can see just how phenomenal this setup is right now. But for the folks watching at home or over on the stream, the stage looks insane this year. And I think it's crazy work. We've seen it be almost constructed from nothing, kind of being built up from the ground up.
They've done a good job.
Yeah, it is phenomenal.
Not a lot of time either, so. And it looks like both coaches actually going up. Obviously, something that hasn't really been spoken about is the fact that CLG Red have actually switched coaches just for this. Like, De Beers have obviously left. He wants to go back into playing.
He rejoined CLG as a player, right? And as a result, they've had to bring a new coach in.
Silent,
Silent. Who hopefully is being anything but right now during the TAC pause. Hopefully,
it's not the best name for a coach, is it?
No, it's not. It isn't the best name for a coach.
So what do you think, Silent?
But, he just nods. Maybe that's what you need, though, with the new coaching rule. He's just really good at giving nonchalant kind of movements of the body. He communicates in other ways. Yeah, exactly. Like just twitches of the eye. If he twitches 3 times, it means rush B. Who knows? I mean...
Well, surely that would just be once. It's just, he blinked, and then that's over there. It's like, oh.
I don't think you could do it off a blink, because they'd be like, you're telling us to rush B every round. We're on the CT side. This isn't working.
Got something in his eye, just like...
The man just has to sit there with his eyes peeled open, knowing he can't blink, or else the whole ruse is given away. But I mean,
we go.
It's going to be the artillery buy. We can actually see what they're buying down in game right now. So
I actually think that this is going to be double league now.
Yeah, no, it's very curious to go for the investment, especially on Harvey, who was and Dye as well, going to be buying down to $1,000.
Yeah, so there's no way they're going for a buy next round. That would just be mad. They're only going to get 1,900 into the next, so 2,900 to go for a buy. So clearly they are just going to give over the 2 rounds. That's what they've decided.
But I mean, then at the same time, wouldn't it be best to either fully commit or, kind of don't commit at all? Like,
well, I suppose the way they've done it here, they will get maximum utility in an AWP. Yeah. Whereas if they did it the other way, obviously they fully invest and they get 1,900 and 2,400, which still leaves them about 4,300, which wouldn't have an AWP, wouldn't have all the utility, wouldn't have everything they want. So I quite like the fact that they are just going to go, okay, we have faith in our full buy. We have, because obviously there's a lot of teams who will just force in these sort of scenarios and then go in with the mixed rifles and then probably lose because they don't have the incendiaries to slow down pushes. They don't have the smokes, that stopping power for even like early round scenarios. We've just seen aggression coming out. Obviously, I'm just seeing the moon at the moment.
But I mean, we're going to have a nade buy coming in as well, and that's going to allow them just to go for this kind of slam dunk play, throwing a whole bunch of nades into one place, causing the artillery just to rain on in, and try and find a couple of frags on the back of that. But I mean, while going for this buy, I do agree with you. I think it's probably the best choice they could have made. Do you think maybe some of the players that are sitting on $2,000, maybe not Milk, because then she can afford to go for the AWP, but surely Bonita could go for something a little bit more spicy. Just some armor. Just some armor, please.
Yeah, it depends. They may just do like 2 rounds of this. I think one thing, like CIS teams do this quite a lot, rather than just fully into one, they'll just go like 2 lots of deagles because that's what they have more faith in. Because a lot of the time, if you miss a deagle shot, you're dead.
Yeah, you're dead anyway.
So, is it really worth having that?
I mean, Rain showed that off earlier brilliantly. She actually got a whole clip of deagle rounds off, but was still dead.
Still hearing T-Pain.
Yeah, so, the pause is still in. So, right now I think there's a couple of technical issues, which, as well as tactical pauses, it's all kind of going on at once. It's like a technical.
A pausathon.
A pausathon.
A pausathon. So, yeah, it is looking like, well, you get to look at us for a little bit rather than all the shenanigans that have been going on.
Rather than the pretty stage, you get this, which is, or the moon. An apology on our behalf there, but so
did you spot it? That's the thing. It was actually an Easter egg.
It was an Easter egg, shaped like an Easter egg.
Yeah.
But 10-10 right now. And I mean, of course, this is our first best of 3 today. That's something we can talk about, is the fact that this is the first semi-final. Of course, we've got another game coming up after this, well, potentially another 2, and that's going to, of course, decide who goes into the grand final up against the winner of the next game, which is going to be Secret versus Expert, which is kind of the battle of the EU, and this is the battle of the NA. So it's going to be the best of NA versus the best of EU in the grand final, which is an exciting prospect nonetheless. But we've just been told that this pause might take a little while, so we're going to go ahead and throw over to a very quick break. and hopefully we will be back with you all shortly.
Get your team apparel now at shop.eslgaming.com.
Counter-Strike is sharing incredible moments with us and will return to a memorable place. Get your tickets now at proleague.com/Dallas.
I think I find myself low on bandwidth sometimes, but it's really exciting and I like the challenges and I like getting to build things. I'm Angie Klingsick, and I'm the executive director at Crimson Gaming at the University of Utah. Salt Lake City is a pretty warm community. We have a pretty decently sized gaming scene, actually, and it's been picking up a lot of velocity and growing, I'd say, exponentially over the years. It's definitely a hidden gem that we're really lucky to be a part of. I actually started getting an interest in leadership roles since I arrived on campus. The one thing that my friends and I had noticed is that no one was gaming together. We didn't want anyone to be gaming by themselves in their dorms. We wanted them to realize that there was a hub for them to go to and that there was a really warm, welcoming place that they could hang out at. Started with the League of Legends Student Association. That evolved into the Esports Association, and for the last year and a half now, we've rebranded to Crimson Gaming. Crimson Gaming is a club that has around 500 registered members. We have over 15 gaming branches, each dedicated to a different game or platform. Crimson Gaming hosts a variety of events for our students. We host weekly gaming events, viewing parties, and tournaments. I end up doing a lot of event support. We structure a lot of special tournaments and events for our community. We also focus a lot on esports. We have competitive teams that are available for students to try out for and compete in. We really want to make sure that the students here have a home for gaming on campus and that they have a central hub that they can go to. One of the biggest challenges I think that we've had is making sure that we are an all-inclusive gaming organization. We want to be inclusive to other organizations, to any gaming studios or companies that may be coming in, to other gaming and TESPA chapters that are in our state. I'd say if you look at a lot of the trends of gaming and competitive gaming and esports, a lot of people look at that and they see boys, 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 boys. We don't really care where you're from, what your background is. We don't care what gender you are. We, in fact, encourage people of all localities to come out and hang out with us. There are a lot of places in esports, and esports is growing, and these communities are getting bigger and bigger, yet a lot of the females who do play find it really difficult to come out. We always make sure that we're reaching out to let them know that there's a safe place on campus to game. When we have our social events and, even when we have our competitive events, I think that leading by example and showing that, there are active women in leadership at Crimson Gaming and in the community, and that they're friendly and they're warm and they want to hang out with you. We started to notice more of an attendance from women at our events. The biggest barrier for women who want to be more involved in gaming is, frankly, themselves. I think there's a lot of personal fears that people have when they want to reach out and they want to be more competitive, or maybe they just want to go out to an event and they think, oh, I'm not good enough, or oh, people probably don't want me there. Sometimes it's even the community, unfortunately, a little bit. Sometimes community members don't understand that their actions or their words are being a barrier to women wanting to come out and hang out and play also. That's something that a leader or you yourself as a community member can change the thought process of. you can be the one to say, hey, that's not cool to say. Maybe reach out to that girl who might be there for the first time and make it so that she's not afraid to come to the event. We're really excited that there are so many females on board and that there are so many females in a visible position and in a welcoming position at our club. When girls come to Crimson Gaming and they see that one of our Overwatch players on the main roster is a female, or the people running the League of Legends event are female, that's something that's really exciting and inspiring. I hope that women will find each other and become inspired to come out more, and that they'll want to lift each other up in the gaming organizations here in the state of Utah.
Start your esports career now at play.eslgaming.com.
When I was 15 years old, everything started for me then. I just focused at the game. I really wanted to become the best. I mean, I saw a lot of female teams before that I looked up to, and I was like, shit, I wanna be like them. I wanna really play like them, and I just wanted to do everything to become a good player. I had a very strict father, and he wanted me to focus more at school than anything else, and of course I understand that. But he didn't understand my feeling for this game and my passion and my love for this game. I was going to Norway to play a shootout. That was actually my first event. I was 15 years old and I couldn't take care of myself, and I was still a kid in his eyes, and nothing could stop me, actually. So when that day came that I was going to Norway, I did it behind his back. Not once, actually, a lot of times. I went to Paris, I went to Norway, I went to DreamHack, I went to other places. Don't do this at home, of course, but I feel like if you really love something, and that you're really good at it, just do it. And nothing could stop me, not either my father, not even my mother or brother or sister. No one could stop me from doing this. There is nothing else I can see in front of me more than the first place. I think it's just the way I am. I mean, I just can't let anyone else win. The feeling at playing on Katowice is very good, and it's pretty different from other female events, because Inter Extreme Masters, it's like they take good care of us, and it's more organized than other female events, and it should always be like that. So that's why I really like to attend to Katowice. And I believe that if female players can prove themselves and can deserve the place where the male teams are today, they will have a lot more events than we have today. I want to see myself growing more than I have to in this scene. I don't feel satisfied yet. It's not enough for me. I'm not done.
I think I understood right when I first started playing Counter-Strike that this was a special game. It was competitive, it was team coordinated, it involved so much personality from each person in order to win. My name is Christine Potterchi, and I'm a professional gamer. I currently play for CLG Red, Counter Logic Gaming, and I play Counter-Strike Global Offensive. I've been playing since 2000... Hold on, let me get this year right. I never remember. Okay. Let's just say 2002. Before, I was just called a professional gamer because I was a female and I won some tournaments. Now I feel like this is my life. By 11 a.m. we have to be up and ready for breakfast, and then we go to the gym by noon. We have private time from 1 to 3, and we start practice at 3. We end at 7. We go to dinner at the league house, where we have a chef that makes us healthy food. For the last 2 tournaments, we started our boot camp about 2 weeks before the tournament. It's where like we live, eat, and breathe Counter-Strike for 2 weeks, and that's all we do. Personal lives are like put on pause, and we're literally boot camping Counter-Strike, Counter-Strike, Counter-Strike. So that's what we do like 2 weeks before an event.
CLG coming in as the favorites, proceeding to have them, I'm going to say, truly tested up against Team Karma. Then they managed to stabilize over, grueling comeback.
What a shot from Potter. Put the guy down, but now a headshot from Potter. He reloads on time, lands at the first, second one's blinded. What a play. She gets the flash, gets the kill, and now it's a 1 versus 1.
I think the responsibilities of a team captain is creating a camaraderie. That's the hardest part, is getting all these different personalities, all these different ages, different cultures, different everything, and making them all work for one goal. And it's actually really challenging. Patience, fortitude, and compassion, and respect. And gameplay, I really think, comes second to all of those. I think those traits really need to be forward to make you a great leader, someone that your peers can look up to. That kind of respect is more earned than just given. Have I earned it? Absolutely. I mean, I've put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into not just this game, but my team. My favorite part of competitive gaming is, I don't know that it's winning. It's being good. It's being good at something, for me. Like, any time that I'm good or I have an awesome round, it's that, like, oh, dude, I'm a badass. I hope that I can look back on my career and know that I earned the respect as a professional gamer, and not just a world champion in women's tournaments, but as a gamer.
Start your esports career now at play.eslgaming.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ESL One Code!
2 headshots in a row, and Phoenix about to bring it back now, all on Nico. Trying to see if they can get the defuse, and Nico, oh no, Phoenix!
Has to keep Virtus Pro alive, Taco once closer, AW...
He's looking for a third, he's gonna get a hit by headshot again! Oh my god!
Get your team apparel now at shop.eslgaming.com.
Welcome back to the Intel Challenge Katowice 2017. I think everything's sorted. I think we've fixed everything, and hopefully that means we can start back up at 10-10. Obviously, where we left off, it is going to be an eco for the side of CLG, and well, a full buy on the side of Dignitas. I think they have a few SMGs in play, just ready to go and make themselves some money. And hopefully we can now just go nice and smooth. Everything will work. Fingers crossed, touch wood, all that jazz.
Yeah, like sandpaper on gravel. We're going to be seeing the right now CLG Red have very little money in the bank. Now, for those of you who weren't here or just tuning in, it is 10-10 right now. We had to take a quick technical pause. And I say quick, not really the best word for it, but we had to take a technical pause, and in amongst that, there was a tactical pause, and it was just a whole mess of pauses, actually, Tom. But ultimately, we're finally going to be coming out of pause gate, and well, yeah, it does look like CLG Red. They've opted to go down the route that we were speaking about, which is a relatively low investment to allow them to have full utility into the rifle buy round. They will have a whole bunch of nades, just a plethora of HE grenades to try and wreak some havoc within the ranks of Team Dignitas, who, I mean, let's face it, it's been a little bit of a downtime in between this. Who knows, we might see them be a little bit warmed down, and they throw their nades in through A main. A couple of them miss, and no one's there anyway for Team Dignitas.
Yeah, I think they were a little bit premature anyway, but you never know, maybe somebody walks in. Actually, they've done quite a lot of damage already. Milk will get a kill with that 5-7. Every little helps at this point in time. Dropping the MAC-10, another for Benita as well. Maybe the downtime has just put Team Dignitas to sleep. They're losing a lot of players, only 2 remaining. Rain and Goose to try and fight this one back. Benita does have herself an AK in hand. The MAC-10 has been picked up as well. It's going to be Goose Breeder to defend her teammate from this 4-person retake.
Yeah, that was the pause for dramatic effect. Meanwhile, I'll tell you someone who isn't pausing for dramatic effect. It's going to be Milk, but she goes down. Harvey now on the flank. Does have a deagle. She wants to try and find something. And oh, she's in the smoke. She's spraying away, but she can't connect anything. It's a 1-on-2. Rain and Goose Breeder, the last 2 left alive, trying to hold on to this site now. Bomb is going to be planted for Rain, and Rain's going to find that shot. Miss Harvey couldn't quite connect anything with the deagle and will go down. That's an 11-10 scoreline now. Team Dignitas, after a long-awaited cliffhanger, they come back into this. They pick up their 11th.
Only just.
And they take the lead. And yeah, only just. I mean, bearing in mind that CLG Red invested next to nothing into that round, they still did so much damage. They keep 2 players alive for Team Dignitas. And that is, stellar work on behalf of CLG Red. One thing we were speaking about is that their economy could start to build up if they forego 2 rounds in a row. They've already made it very costly, and they're going to be disallowing that. If they can replicate that this round, then it's going to be as if they never even ecoed in the first place.
Yeah, we are going to have the Zeus onto Benita. I'm looking forward to seeing if that can actually come in. She does have a P250 as well. Going for quite a similar round, like they're just going to stack over towards this B site. 4 players ready and waiting for the push to come in, but at the moment, it is just going to be a default. You can tell Dig aren't going to go for anything too much at the moment. They may even think that this is a buy coming in. They don't know how much was invested in the last round. They don't know whether it was a full force, whether they just invested into a few pistols, or very little at all. They don't really have the information. So what they're coming up against is going to be mainly down to the players they find. Now, so far, they have found absolutely nobody. They are going to go pushing back towards this B site. Risky angle to take if this works out. Oh, it's unfortunate. Going to go for the timing shot. Doesn't quite manage to connect. Both players so far on the B side are going to fall. There is already a quick flank coming in. Nobody holding it at the moment. So see whether or not anything can be done. Die will actually finish off one more player, and it's just going to be Harvey left to try and challenge versus 4.
Yeah, once again going to be on this Deagle. Now, last time she had the Deagle, didn't really fare too well. Let's see if it is a different story this time around, as she is someone who's been able to land some fairly impressive Deagle shots and already going to do some damage downrange. But ultimately, it's going to be Goosebreeder on that flank to dispatch of her. That's a 12-10 scoreline now. Team Dignitas 3 rounds away from match point. CLG, they find themselves 5 rounds away. Let's not forget, though, this is Team Dignitas' map pick. As we came into the second half, it was a 9-6 scoreline in favor of CLG Red. So since then, Team Dignitas have done a great job of not only pulling things back, but retaking the lead, and now they find themselves with the advantage. It is going to be CLG Red, though, with enough money to finally buy on down, coming off the back of a double eco. It is going to be the AWP up on Potter. Nathan flashes towards that side, and Rain's going to push on through. Tag down very low, but Potter will be able to find that first with the AWP. Diablo will burn Goosebreeder alive. She goes down, and this A-side play going to be completely eliminated before they get so much of their foot in the door here. Have to fall on back, and that is them 2 players down and giving up all control of the A-site.
Yeah, I like the idea, the aggression to come out after you've just faced up against a couple of pistol buys. You expect the 4-buy to be in play and try to catch off your opposition. Unfortunately, the Molotov does a lot of damage, and that is basically the advantage that they've gained from saving for 2 rounds. They've managed to have all that utility ready to stop any aggressive pushes. Also stops any further push through it, and Potter's able to get the kill with the AWP. So already, as you said, 2-winner advantage over towards this CT side. We are going to have the rotation of the bomb, what looks like over towards this B side, and possibly a fake coming out from Emily, but she has the AWP, so maybe able to do a little bit of extra damage. Obviously not normally the player you send out for the fake. There's 40 seconds left on the clock. No real reason to over-rotate either from the side of CLG Red. They have the advantage pretty much anywhere they go.
Yeah, it doesn't like B's going to be the site in question, though. Bombs here with only 25 seconds left. They've got to do something, and they've got to do it quickly. And right now, both Harvey and Die here to try and hold this down. A couple of players close by who can rotate very quickly. Push going to come in, but they've only got 15 seconds now. Emily able to find that first. And Molotov's going to go and deny the plant. It's going to be paying dividends, but it misses. And ultimately, that's going to allow Arstar to get the bomb now. Now suddenly it's a 3-on-4. Make that a 2-on-4 as Harvey's quick to remedy her earlier shortcomings by finding that frag on a Cath. But in the blink of an eye, it's all on Emily. 1v4, AWP in hand, and over towards uppers here. And yeah, she's looking to fall on back, trying to save. It's going to get spotted on the cross, but isn't going to be mopped up. That will be CLG, though, finding their way back into this finally on the CT side. They pick up another round. Let's hope, though, it isn't just an isolated case as we saw previously.
Yeah, we've already seen them get 1 round on the board and instantly lose the next. The round that we actually saw come in from Dignitas was a little bit of a run-and-gun strategy, attempting to just force the issue over onto that A site. Now, it didn't work out in this scenario. I think in many it would have done. And now we can see if they can just go straight for that reset. This time they're going aggressively towards B, taking a lot of map control. Haven't been much of a challenge over on that site as of yet anyway. We are going to have the rotation come out from Die.
Yeah, everyone here for the side of Team Dignitas looking to try and push on in, and well, Kath's going to be the player tasked with trying to entry frag in towards the site, and right now they're just going in sneaky beaky like no, I'm going to be peeking on out. Finally, Harvey does peek on over. Die's going to be alerted to the oncoming onslaught. Going to be able to find one, but that is it as she gets taken down. The trade's ultimately going to go in favor of Team Dignitas as they entry in towards this site, just looking to be on fire. Speaking of on fire, Harvey is going to be Molotov down and has to fall on back, and already this retake looking to be in shambles here. Finally, Benita to equalize things back into a 3-on-3, but everyone else playing so passively with the exception of Arstar, who is still on the site. Now, Potter's able to land a nice fast flick out onto her, but it's still 2 players up and alive for Team Dignitas.
Potter's actually going to catch one more. His only Goosebreeder left, and actually looks like they have managed to make this one work, just about going to be able to get that bomb defused and bring it back to 12-12. Really nice retake there, and a lot of like smart little nades that were thrown out just to bait players out of position. You see the smoke go down that forces a player all the way down ramp. Because the smoke is there, they have to peek out, and then the AWP is waiting. You see upper as well towards the end of the round. They had to peek because the bomb had been tapped, and it was just basically baiting out all these remaining Ts, and that's why in a lot of scenarios you see the T side go very aggressive, because they want to take over the sort of whole of the B side rather than just sitting back in the crevices and just waiting to be picked out. Now we actually see a complete turn on its head. CLG are the ones with the economy in play, and it's looking like we're just going to see a rush B strategy.
Yeah, B's a good site to rush because normally you can get that bomb down, but not if Potter's here to find that first entry, and all of a sudden the momentum being sucked out of this. Potter finds a second. Harvey's here to back her up, and this eco push going to be completely guillotined, and there's Harvey with 3. That's the triple. And that's going to be CLG. They retake this lead. This is Team Dignitas' map pick, and CLG looking to be in fighting form right now in these last couple of rounds. This is really one of the most crucial rounds in the game right now, I would say, for CLG at least. I mean, no, and also for Dignitas. I mean, if they win it, then their economy is going to be doing okay. They equalize things out 13-13, and they put the essential chip that they need to in the economy of CLG. If CLG win this, then Dignitas are going to have no money left. That's going to be CLG red at 14-12, and suddenly they're 1 round away from match point up against an ecoing opponent.
Yeah, Emily taking a little bit of a risk, decided to go for utility over the Kevlar with this AWP, and it's looking like it's going to be a very aggressive push out of Pop. Smokes have gone down. The bomb is yet to actually push in. These two players trying to do everything alone. Milk going to be getting one. The trade will be back from Kath, but Dai is ready to put the woman advantage over towards that CT side. Once again, Artstar will fall, and look at Dai's position. Already going to spot Rain just walking around the back of the site. The bomb's going to be dropped, and this is looking like another shutdown round. Rain has to do so much, has been the star of the show, but it's not going to be enough for Team Dignitas in this round. And well, now edging ever closer, CLG 2 rounds away from taking their opponent's map pick.
Yeah, I mean, they've got so much money. Potter's sitting on $10,000. Harvey's on $11,000. I mean, you know, I bet they wish they could just transfer the currency out of the game and into their bank accounts, but sadly not going to be the case, and that's going to be Team Dignitas. They buy on down a little bit what they can, a couple of Tech 9s, a little bit of utility to play around with, and ultimately it's just going to be another rush. By the looks of things this time over towards Ivy. Now, Benita is here, and she's been on fire. A little bit quieter in these last couple of rounds, but still in the T side. We saw her landing her shots, doing incredibly well, and she's just going to be looking to try and hold the angle. Right now, Team Dignitas, they're just going to wait for that smoke to fade. No need to push on through. We have seen them do a couple of unnecessary rushes in 3 smokes, so I like the fact they let it settle down. Now they're going to smoke off the cross, try to take CT spawn. Benita's going to get fully flashed and has to get the hell out of there. She's going to get tagged down low, but Milk through the smoke to try and reinforce, able to find one. Benita does fall, though, back into a 4-on-4. The rush coming in, but Potter just chipping away at these players. Dai is going to go down over in towards CT spawn. Bit of an unnecessary peek, really. That's an M4.
Yeah, no, Emily's got the AWP.
Sorry, yeah, it's the AWP handed over into the hands of Emily, and she's a huge threat with that. So suddenly they've been able to make a fairly promising scenario out of this.
Yeah, they will actually look to go back towards A site, and nice peek as well. Potter's going to go down. That's the second AWP picked up. So they're actually going to have a decent amount of weaponry to try and fight this back. 2 glass cannon AWPs is nothing to frown upon. Obviously, the Tech 9 seem to be doing enough at this point in time. There's actually nobody over towards the A site other than Connector as well, so they'll be able to get a free plant and fall back into after plant positions with AWPs. That's going to be so difficult for CLG to actually retake. The one advantage is the utility on Miss Harvey. Already, however, Milk is going to be pushing in. There goes the Molotov, there goes the utility that is being thrown out, but they're not going to be able to do anything against this AWP. Rain gets one, Emily gets the other, and around again. We've seen a few of these. It should never have happened, but it does, and Dig have got themselves straight back into this game.
Yeah, seemingly from nowhere as well. They had so little going into that, and a couple of unnecessary peaks here and there. Not sure if that's CLG maybe overestimating the tactical importance of maybe kind of the ground that Team Dignitas were able to gain, or if it's just them necessarily kind of hunting for frags, trying to shut down these eco players. And while that does sound, you know, to be maybe not the most obvious thing, it's, you know, when you look at it, a lot of these players on CLG have been doing phenomenally well, but never mind, Potter looking to try and correct the problems that arose last round. Going to go aggressive towards B, and already chipping away at Team Dignitas, finds that first frag out onto Artstar. Kath, however, does continue this aggression. It's going to be still pushing over towards B, unfazed by the death of her comrade, continues her expedition over towards this B site, just holding the ground for the time being. Harvey's there alone, going to be playing the B anchor role up close and personal. The rest of Team Dignitas, however, looking like they want to try and make something happen out towards this A site.
Already, Emily going to be tagged down. She needs to try and find a pick with this AWP, and is actually going to get burned. Potter with the frag, looking like they're going to try and possibly get this AWP back, but already two-player advantage. Rain will be able to trade one back, but the damage being done by this utility at the moment is just making things nigh on impossible. AWP is going to be picked up. They've got 45 seconds to get themselves onto the site and get the bomb down. They have managed to isolate a couple of players. Benita should be able to peek around this smoke, but now they're going to go flashing through, and it works. Cap is going to get one, but it still just trades. But look at the HP at the moment, and Rain is now all that survives of this Dignitas side.
And there goes Benita with the wide peak to find that. CLG Red, they arrive at match point, and they're so close to securing Team Dignitas' map pick, a map that they've looked fragile on consistently throughout sort of their CS careers, very up and down, especially up against Team Dignitas on this map. Last time we saw them match up on it, it was a 16-5 victory in favor of Team Dignitas back when they played under the Selfless lineup. So a very, very promising scenario right now for CLG Red, who would next be moving on to their map pick, a map that they look to be insanely strong on at the minute. So potential for them to still pick this up 2-0. Anyway, Benita knows what's at stake. She's going to be playing a very aggressive angle, and the boost's going to be coming on in now. For the time being, because she was so close to the smoke, they wouldn't have been able to spot her, but she does fall on back. Doesn't look to peek out, though, just yet. Team Dignitas haven't yet found a way into this round.
Yeah, Malit has been on the losing side of a lot of these AWP duels so far. Potter only one frag away from the 30 bomb, so we're pretty close. Had a reasonable T side as well. I think 15 and 9, something of the sort, and looking to do somewhat similar over on this CT side. They're going to need to shut her down. Now, both teams actually expended a lot of utility, neither really with too much left for stopping power, but the aggression will come out. First going to be spotted, but Goose Breeder trades 2 straight back. Potter is going to be here with that AWP, but doesn't manage to capitalize onto anything. Now, Dye looking to go very aggressive, spots that one, but loses the duel, giving it over to a 4 versus 2, and a lot of damage again seems to be being done to some of these Dignitas players, but none of the shots actually connecting at the moment. Potter going to go very aggressive, needs to find this kill quickly, does manage one, Harvey finds another, and now the remaining 2 players are very low over on that Dig side.
Yeah, it's 1-on-2. Potter's got 73 HP to play around with here. Time's taken away, but she does have a kit as well. No utility for either side. And she has it from one of these players. Finds that first. Now it's all on Rain. It's 1v1. She's still got time left to go for the lead. She's going to be going aggressive, but Rain connects the shot. That's 14-15. Team Dignitas, they're still in this, and potentially overtime on the cards now. If they win this next one, then we will be seeing overtime come out. If not, CLG Red, they will be taking this first map.
We saw Risk on the desk saying he thought this was going to be 16-14.
Yeah, I mean, he's looking...
He did say Dig, though.
Yeah, he did say Dig.
But it's been a very close game either way, so he's got that.
Is he the worst analyst? Yes.
No, that's Hugo for sure. Either way, we are going to have...
Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant, yeah.
But, I mean, look, CLG's buy-in heading into this is going to be very weak. 2 UMPs, M4 to try a player, and then a couple of 5.7s. Ultimately, not very much, and, well, they're going to be trying to make it work up close and personal. They've got 3 players right now over towards A main, but already Milk suffered heavy damage. And while Rain's trying to peek on out, now might be able to find one in a pot who's right now just on top of the train. Just trying to chill out, and it's going to get caught, not by Rain, instead by Kath, who is going to be tagged down low in retort, but still, Emily on the peak to find one with the AWP, finally going to be able to put this AWP to good use. We've seen relatively little from her on it, and down goes Milk as well. It's all on Benita and Harvey, 2v5. They've got to try and keep this going right now for CLG if they want to win. If not, we're going to be seeing overtime in the blink of an eye. It's all on Benita. There we go.
How many was that for Goose in that round? Was that 4? I think she got 4 kills in that round. Just absolutely destroyed everyone. It was 3, 1 off, but did a lot of damage in that round through the smoke at the end, and they are going to be able to bring this one back. A very close game. I think both teams actually losing a couple rounds to pistols and rounds they shouldn't have lost, and it just made the game so far very, very interesting. Now, we're going into overtime. I imagine it's going to be MR310K. That is the sort of standard. From all the OTs we saw at IEM, that was what we saw. Now, if it's anything different, then I'm wrong, and oh well. deal with it. But we are hopefully going to be going into that one relatively shortly. Now, from what you've seen, what would you change?
What I was going to say is heading into this, I would say all the pressure's on Dignitas. I mean, the next map, I would say, is one that you can fairly safely assume that CLG should be able to pick up, right? They've looked nothing but strong on it. People will kind of say it's somewhat their second best map in their map pool, Cash.
Mirage.
Up there with Mirage, yeah, exactly. And it was just one that Team Dignitas weren't able to ban out. So you'd hope that CLG, being the favorites somewhat heading into this, should be able to pick up their map pick. That said, Dignitas are a team that have placed incredibly well, have a lot of experience on the roster. You know, when they formerly played under Selfless, they were one of the teams that was actually able to take a map off of Team Secret when they were considered the best female team in the world.
They still are.
So, yeah, and they still are. So, you know, I mean, Dignitas has done some truly incredible things, but I do feel like heading into this, a lot of the pressure's on them. If they pick this up now, coming back from that scoreline, even though this is a map that normally they are able just to mop up on, it looks like everything's going right for CLG. You know, they've got players playing incredibly well. Like you said, Potter currently on what, 31 frags. I do feel like they are playing very well, but things have slowed down on their CT side. So what needs to change? I think what we spoke about earlier, a little bit more aggression coming out from CLG, perhaps something over towards B, locking down the map. We saw it happen a couple of rounds, and whenever they did very well. Potter peeking that angle aggressively with the orb, paid off for them almost every time. It was an opening frag that wasn't traded back.
See early control over towards Pop Dog. The split already coming out over towards the A. The bomb is actually going to be the first out onto the site, already going down in the smoke. Potter is just going to get decimated. Rain with 2 kills already onto the site, dying in upper will be finished off, and this has just been a ridiculously quick push. We saw them try this previously, it didn't work. This time, well, Rain is there to take 2 heads off beginning of the round.
Yeah, through smoke as well. Rain just, I mean, you know, in amongst the fog, there is Rain. And I guess, you know, Rain triumphs overall. So Harvey's looking to try and save Holland to the M4. It is MR3 10k overtime, as you said. And saving the M4 here, considering they go for the AWP buy, is something that's going to pay off brilliantly for them. It means that their economy is in a lot less of kind of a critical state, in danger of going in for the eco. Harvey needs to stay alive, though. And luckily enough, she does find Cat, so she will be able to. She's wearing some very red gloves as well. Very red.
Goes with the team.
It does go with the team. CLG red, there you go. There's the plug. It's intentional. That's also why she has the Howl and the Doppler. Everything's red in her inventory. Even the hair. I mean, even the hair, like, I mean, it's not red. It's kind of like a pink, but it's close enough.
Walking, talking advertisement. There you go.
Yeah.
It's sorted. That's how you do it. Obviously, I will sell out that hard as well one day.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine seeing, you know, Pasha Snacks in the gang with orange hair? Maybe.
Maybe not so much Taz. I think that'd be quite difficult, but you never know. Maybe just his head. Either way, we are going to have what looks like a similar aggressive push. This time they're going to try and take over Ivy control instead, but look at the aggression coming out from the CT side. They know it's going to be this A hit. They've already cleared the majority of positions over towards B. The problem is, will they actually fade back in? Dire's going to start, Benita with another, so actually picking up the win advantage at the beginning of the round. The push will be coming in the meantime, and a 3-pronged attack coming out from the T side. Emma Leak manages to get one more, but the flank will already be coming in. She's going to be holding the angle versus Miss Harvey, but actually turns around. Be the moment to pounce, and Milk will do from behind. They've taken so much control over the map. Another for Miss Harvey, leaving just Rain. But who else would you want in this scenario?
Yeah, 1v3, make that a 1-on-2 as she does dispatch of Miss Harvey. Now looking to try and fade away. And Milk might let it get away with it. It's not going to be the case as finally peeks on out and it's able to deal with the player who's trying to make a quick getaway after finding that one frag. The trade does come through better late than never, and that's going to be a 16-16 scoreline. One round away from the end of the half. And of course, winning 2 versus, you know, picking up the 1. I mean, it's much easier to only go ahead and then win 2 in the next half than it is to win all 3.
Well, that's just maths.
Yeah. I'm just saying, though, you know, the weighting of this next round is pivotal almost.
3 is more than 2.
3 is definitely more than 2, and 2 is more than 1. As we continue into this, I know.
This is why we're not on the desk.
This is why you're on the desk for the grand finals, Tom.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, we have got 4 rifles in play over on the side of Team Dignitas, and the AWP on Emmy Elite now. A little bit quiet here and there, but she does have her moments with the AWP. I definitely prefer it from the P90, I have to say.
I don't really think that needed to be said.
Resounding upgrade. And Bomb's going to go down towards A. Interestingly, CLG opted to play very, very passively, completely relinquish control of the A site. It's 5v5, looking like a retake server here as they make their way on in. Bomb's going to be ticking down. The rotate still moving in from B very, very slowly as they have to check connector. They have to check all these angles, and as a result, the rotate's been very slow. And now finally they're looking to try and make their way in, and Potter's able to find one. D is going to fall though in retort, and as Benita pushes on in, Rain mops it up from Old Hell. Suddenly it's a 3-on-4, but Potter with a nice quick flick out on a Goose Breeder, turning it back into a 3-on-3, and suddenly Milk finding Kath over towards Pop.
Well, took herself out though. That could be a bit of a problem. Rain is going to be the only one left alive to try and stop anything from happening in this scenario. Already they're going to get onto the bomb. Will they have enough time? That's the question, just about. And CLG Red retaking 0.05. You don't get much closer than that, but they will get the 2 rounds. Somewhat expected, obviously, is that CT side, and one of the things the CT side really struggles with is that economy game. So I'm actually quite surprised by that as well. 5v5 retake on the A site. Most of the time I would put my money going on the T side there. They should have decent after plant positions, but a few like lovely flips coming in from Potter.
Yeah,
as well.
that's what I was going to put a lot of that down to Potter, right? Who just comes in. That second flick shot that she landed out onto the player over towards Ivy, getting rid of that singular kind of thorn in their side who'd been preventing the rotate in from CT. Just phenomenal work to open that up. Milk as well on the flank, someone who's been very quiet. In all honesty, Milk now kind of being someone who stepped up severely in overtime when they needed her the most. I mean, in the previous round, we saw her mop up a couple of frags thanks to the flank. Once again, it's going to be paying off, and now we're going to be seeing them over on the T side. It is just going to be almost a symmetrical buy. I mean, what, four rifles and an AWP each.
Yeah, we are going to see this AWP battle once again by the looks of things. Pivotal player will be Rain over towards that B side, playing the catalyst role. Just going to be spotting for now. There isn't really anybody who could even rotate quickly. That's the big thing as well. No one in connector.
Yeah, there isn't. It's a very... They're relying heavily on Rain here to be able to mop this up. The benefit as well is you have Kath, who can hear the rotation in towards B because she's playing aggressively in pop. So at least you do kind of have a little bit more time to rotate players.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, you know, yeah, if Rain goes down, that B site is going to be ripe for the taking. No one in a position to rotate round quickly. And they're relying on Rain as the anchor to be able to lock things down. Now, right now, luckily enough for them, CLG looking like they want to try and hit this A site. 3 players down towards Ivy, 2 ready to shoot down Pop at a moment's notice. And here's the push coming on in.
Goose Breeder actually just going to be holding. Wonder if there's a little bit of a gap to be found in the smoke. Die is going to be spraying away. They are slightly isolated, but it will be Benita to get that first frag into this round. Going to continue the push. Artstar on the flank, but they're going to drop the bomb in Pop, and that was a solo push. They're not even going to have much time to get this one back. They've got to go very aggressively to try and catch this one off. And look at the position of Artstar as well, just trying to hold on the cross. Very smart positioning. And that could be it for that round, I think. The bomb is going to be very difficult to retain, and even if they do, well, they're just going to run out of time. They actually managed to get it through the flames. That's quite surprising in the end. And Potter's going to pick up another one. This should be a round going the way of Dignitas, but instead, we're back to a 2 versus 2.
Somehow, through the fire and flames, they get the bomb. Now it's going to go down, and a lot of this is going to fall onto Potter with the AWP. She's already found that first frag to equalize things back into a 2-on-2, and she's been playing phenomenally well, but as has Benita. Luckily enough, it's Rain and Kath. Right now, it is the clash of the giants. The 2 best players on either team, you know, at least in my opinion, going to be going head-to-head. And well, out comes the first. Kath had to pick up Potter, but then it's Benita to clutch things out. 1v2 lands both of those frags when CLG needed her to the most. And that's 16-18. Let's not forget in MR3 overtime, it's 1st to 19. CLG find themselves 1 round away from potentially taking this.
Yeah, and well, I am sort of in shock that they managed to do it in that round. Just the fact that the bomb was dropped in such a horrible position. They had a Molotov on it.
They shouldn't have done it. It's as simple as that.
But it's the same as the retake in the previous round, like on the CT side. So just stepping up big when necessary. 4 kills for Benita in that round, opening up the site and also closing it as well. So leaving it down, they just need 1. Now already the CT side, they don't have that AWP in play. The money has got a little bit too much. I do think they may have been able to get one, but they would have had to drop quite a lot of utility for it. So I think they've just decided to stick with the rifles for this round again. Ivy Control going to come under contention, and Emilite is going to go down. It doesn't matter whether she has an AWP or a rifle, as long as there are players there to stop her. Quick trades, however, mean the CT side do take the advantage back. Potter going to go for the peak with the AWP, isn't able to find anything. And actually the CT side are having a lovely round, just Potter left to try and fight this back versus 3.
Yeah, she's got to try and clutch this out to win this map for CLG. 1v3. 60-18 is the scoreline right now. This is the first map in tonight's first best of 3 for the Intel Challenge. And of course, it's to decide who gets into the grand finals, which is fantastic. So already Potter pushing on out. She has to check so many angles here. She has no information as to where these players are. Rain going to be playing up close. She looks away at just the wrong time, and it's going to go down. That is Dignitas picking up their 17th, and now they're 1 round away from double overtime, Tom. What's better than 1 overtime, I hear you say? 2 overtimes. That's more math.
More maths.
There we go. What's better than 2, Tom? 3.
Oh, I was going to say 4.
But already, it is looking like CLG Red, they're going to go for the same buy once again, going to get the AWP up on Potter. That's the benefit of winning that first round. And, you know, being able to get a couple together.
Also the T side as well.
Yeah. They do now have enough money to go for the AWP buy. Luckily enough, Emily does have enough as well. They did keep everyone alive.
They managed to save that into the last round. Emily is going to be playing over towards Ivy. She has had some problems so far. Actually misses the shot as well, especially considering the pop flash missed. That should have been a kill. That should have been an opening for the Dignitas side. In the meantime, the rest are going to be making their way over towards this B site. Rain, as said, is going to be the catalyst here. Goose Breeder has rotated in already. Rain below half HP, so has to be a little bit careful. The bomb does not look dedicated to this site as of yet. Still over a minute left on the clock, so not really any reason to go for anything too overzealous. But they have still left a player over in Ivy at the moment. It's still going to be Benita. And that will hold a few players over there, just her presence. They know that she's crossed over. Obviously, the AWPer is attempting to hold this angle, and eventually, there goes Emilite. And this may open them up to rotate a little bit more over towards the B site. And really, this should be the moment the CLG Red pounce. This is going to be the best opportunity just because they've just lost their player on the flank. Rain in the corner, doesn't manage to get anything done. Kath is going to be the next point of contact. Potter finds another, push comes in, and Milk's got the kill. There's only going to be 2 left to try and challenge back in this situation.
Yeah, Arstar and Goose Breeder fast moving on in. Now they've already lost the dynamic duo, but Arstar able to find 1. Harvey goes down, now it's a 2-on-3, and Goose Breeder's up close. They're not going to check it, and down goes Milk too. Suddenly it's a 2-on-2, but Potter peeks on out. Is able to find Goose Breeder now. It's all on Arstar, 1 versus 2. It looks like CLG should to get this as long as they just trade things out, but Arstar's trying her hardest. She can't quite connect the shot. Somehow Potter's still alive, finally goes down. It's DV Arstar. She doesn't have a Molotov, and Arstar's going to stick the defuse. D's not picking on out just yet, but she does find the shot. That's going to be CLG Red. They pick up the first map. It was so incredibly close, and there's a lot that our analysts will be able to speak about after this, Tom. It was everything. I mean, you know, there was insane clutches. It came down to a T. We saw overtime, phenomenal plays across the board. I mean, just look at Potter, 37 frags right now. Benita, Guy as well, both having phenomenal games. All in all, I mean, I think that is everything we could have asked for and more from the first map, and there's still more to come.
Yeah, no, a very, very close first map as well. We also had our fair share of sort of pistol round wins, rounds where we thought, okay, the game is now over. CLG, they've got themselves into a position where they're going to win, and then you sort of look back and you go, wait, did they just win a round with Tech 9s? They brought themselves back into the game, and then they have to eco. So the economy game was all over the place in that one, but eventually it is going to be CLG to take the first map. Of course, this is actually the pick of Dignitas, and now we move on to Cash. Now, obviously, we've not seen either of these maps in the tournament so far. We hadn't seen how CLG were going to play on this map, well, for months. We haven't seen how Dignitas are going to play Cash either. So I don't want to say that the series is done, but just by what we've seen from bans previously, like obviously a lot of teams were banning Cash versus them, didn't want to play them on it. There was a very good reason for that. There normally is. They were banning Train up until that point though, and now they've just won Train.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. I mean, the other thing is it's just like having your map pick go over to the other team is always going to be kind of demoralizing somewhat. You know, it's the map that you chose to play on, and ultimately, Dignitas did give that up, and now CLG having 1 map under their belt means they only need to get 1 more in order to take the series 2-0 and head into the grand finals against the winner of Team Secret versus, is it
Expert?
Expert. I thought it was Expert. I randomly start thinking that maybe they're the Americans, and I'm like, no, they're not. I just said the Americans, but yeah, it is the best of the NA versus the best of the EU in the grand final, and I guess we're going to see who that is, whether it is going to be CLG taking it 2-0, or if we will be going to a 3rd map after a very quick break.